Okay, all flight controllers, go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guidance. Go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
There is nothing wrong with your television. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are now controlling the transmission. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can deluge you with 1,000 channels or expand one single image to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can conceive. For the next hour, we will control all that you see and hear. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the deepest inner mind to the outer limits.
This one is dedicated for all the workers that work 9 to 5. And you wanna party, yeah. Hey, it's Friday, let's party tonight. Party, baby, it's Friday. Yes, it is. Gonna party, I'm gonna party and get my groove on. Get my groove on. It's Friday, baby, baby. And I'm gonna party till the break of dawn. Yes, I am, yes, I am. I did my work this week. Woo! And baby, I just got paid. Gonna go buy me a fresh pair of Gators with some of this money that I made. Man, waiters on the radio singing about the whiskey. I think I'll go by the stove to get me a bottle so I can be ready, to get my groove on the dance floor. Baby, baby, it's Friday, 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 baby. And I'm gonna party, party, and get my groove on. Get my groove on. It's Friday, Friday, baby. Oh, and I'm gonna party till the break of dawn. Stepped in the club, looking candy and clean. Ooh-wee. I see a woman just for me. I'm gonna say, baby, do me the honor. Would you please have this dance with me? Thank you so much. 'Cause it's Friday and I'm feeling good. And I'm gonna party till the lights come on. And I'ma do the electric slide to Johnny Taylor. Slide on. Baby, baby, it's Friday, Friday, baby. And I'm gonna party, party, and get my groove on. Get my groove on. It's Friday, oh, Friday, baby. And I'm gonna party, party, break the dawn. Break the dawn. Mr. DJ, can you play some Marvin Seas? Can you play Motel Leather? Oh yeah. So I can ask this lady to please take me. I've been at work all week and I deserve to come out and have a good time. I've been spending my money on everybody else. Tonight I'm gonna spend every dime. 'Cause it's Friday. It's Friday. Yes it is. Gonna get my groove on. And I'm gonna party and get my groove on. Get my groove on. It's Friday. Friday, baby. Oh. party till the break of dawn. The break of dawn. It's Friday, baby. Come on, y'all, and I'm gonna party, get my groove on, This is DDS02D. Tonight I want to talk about something that was discussed at the Black Manosphere Conclave 3.0 up in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a topic that was presented by no other than Mamiya Obsidian Ali. And it's a pertinent issue by Black men for Black men. It's the triangle to success for the 21st century gentleman. A guide, if you will. It's a guide that I co-sign, a guide that I endorse, and a guide that I agree with. It's the triangle of study, style, and self-defense. We must master all three to be a well-rounded, successful, and upstanding as Black men out here. Now, we're going to do this in 3 parts, so let us start with self-defense. Black men must be able to protect themselves and also by extension their family. Part of this involves the concept here of self-defense. As a Black man, we encounter many dangers out here. There's a lot of other Black men, select F-boys, and just plain criminals who like to target you because you have something that they don't. See, they failed in life, and they feel that it's safer to attack you physically and then take what's yours. What you worked hard for and what you deserve. They feel safe because it's not a white man that they're attacking. So they assume that there won't be much effort getting justice for you because you're a Black man. This is their mindset. It's a type of crab in the barrel mentality, a mentality of operating from a perspective of lack. So as a non-select guy, you're aware of this. So it stands to reason that you have to take proactive steps to defend yourself. You must carry a weapon at all times on your person. But see, not only that, you must be proficient in the use of that weapon. But see, it extends a bit further than that. See, as a Black man, you must have the physical stamina to defend yourself also. In the event that physical stamina is needed, you must be as ready as your body permits. So what does this mean? It means that you must keep your body in shape and maintain your best stamina. Being physically fit is beneficial in the fact that it extends your life and keeps you healthy, but it assists you in defending yourself, particularly in close quarters. It serves as a tertiary purpose as well. And that purpose is that your appearance will improve and help serve as a sort of deterrence to the invitation of violence.
So what am I saying here? I'm saying that exercising and being physically fit also serves as a deterrence to people who may want to come at you. Not all, but some may avoid you because of your appearance. The appearance on being able to get them a good fight. See what I mean? Now let's talk about firearms. Now with firearms, you have to maintain your proficiency and maintain your firearm for operation. If you have a firearm, you must know the laws. Don't be that person that doesn't understand self-defense in the context of your state laws. Get the necessary permits and understand your respective state laws. Know how to use your firearm and know how to field strip that weapon. We've seen too many cases where people get their gun taken away from them and then it's used against the owner. Don't be that person. There are a myriad of courses and classes available that offer instruction on the use of firearms. So there's no excuse to be ignorant. Now let's get into the second part of the triad, study. As Obsidian has so eloquently said, Black men of the 21st century must be a well-read and a learned man. He must keep his mind sharp. I couldn't agree more. We must be well informed about what it is that we're talking about. There's nothing worse than going to a social function and not being able to articulate concepts, ideas, or even just holding an interesting conversation. You must have the vocabulary that demonstrates that you have a firm understanding about whatever it is that you're discussing. You must be able to adapt and put on a variety of hats, if you will. So what does that mean, gentlemen? Having the ability to converse without being disrespectful or being able to converse and express understanding, and always being open to ideas and concepts, particularly with the ladies. You must do that. You must have a social life because, listen, practice makes perfect. Now, if you tend to be more on the non-social side, then practicing this and doing this would mean that your nervousness and awkwardness will abate and subside with practice, gentlemen. You must attend at least one social function per month, at least. And we advise to strive to read one book per month to keep your mind sharp. There are many benefits of this, gentlemen. If you can manage those two goals there, you will have opened up a variety of opportunities for yourselves. I can attest that to you. The final piece here of the triad is style. That is, gentlemen, your dress wear. You must have at least 3 blazers and a couple of suits. You must have formal shoes, like Oxfords, at least 3 or 4 pair. And this is just for starters. And this formal wear isn't as expensive as one might imagine. It's advised to go to a tailor to get the suit properly fitted. But I found that if you go about this yourself, you must get your measurements as perfect as you possibly can. You must put in the effort. Our dear Saint Kevin was a master at this. Your presentation is extremely, extremely important. How the world sees you as a Black man matters. Your first impression sticks to everyone you meet. So you want to make it a good one. That cannot be overstated enough. See, the image of Black men is so important that we in the Black manosphere have made it our duty to help clean it up. We've advised brothers to present themselves professionally, even on social media. This is why you notice brothers with suits and professional wear now in these social spaces. We have to separate ourselves from the select guys. And this is just one way we are doing just that. We are drawing a line in the sand to show that we are not them. We are not the select F boys. The select F boys that a large section of Black women online are constantly complaining about. We are not those cats. So brothers, we have to carry ourselves out here in a certain type of way. We are developing standards and expecting that those standards be abided by.
This is DDS02D. Hey Marvel, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you up here tonight. Yeah, I just had that presentation. I hope you're doing fine, man. How you been?
Oh, I'm good, brother. Just I had to go pick my daughter up. Her mama, she kind of going through some things, but I'm good, brother. Yeah, everything going good. Been a good day.
Okay, man. That's really good to hear, brother. I mean, this topic that I've got up here right now, like it's just talking about, a concept that was brought up at the Black Manosphere Conclave 3.0 up in Atlanta. And Obsidian brought up this topic about, style, study, and self-defense. And I thought it was very important because, what we do, as far as the conclaves are concerned, as far as they go, is that we're trying to really help Black men on the ground succeed in real life, so those conclaves are very important for, men to attend and be able to learn things from older men and, men who have went through the trials and tribulations of, what to do and what not to do. So that's why I wanted to touch on those three separate elements of the triad, of the triangle, because you'd be surprised to notice, brothers, that there are a lot of younger men out here who were raised by single mothers that don't know anything about, style as far as formal dress wear, knowing how to get a tuxedo, how to get a suit or a blazer, or what types of dress wear that they're supposed to be using out here on a job interview. Just simple, small things like that, are things that brothers like me, Obsidian, and even yourself, Marvel, can, give great advice to these brothers out here to help them in their real life out here. And by the way, Hey, Miss Pat, how are you doing today?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. I'm glad that you was able to join. I've got Marvel up here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Marvel, it's so good to hear you about you. I've been listening to all of y'all's videos, and I just love them. They're wonderful. You guys really got you're marching on, and I love it.
Yeah, Miss Pat, I appreciate that. Can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I can
Oh
hear
yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
That's real. I'm really glad to hear you say that, Miss Pat, because I actually was gonna well, I'm probably still gonna do it. I felt a little bit bad. Me and DDS, we talked over some things, and I felt a little bit bad after I said some of the things I said because I realized a lot of ladies they didn't really like what I said, and I felt a little bit I felt a little bit down about that because sometimes when you say some things, they don't they sound good to you, and they actually sound not that bad to the women that you may have in your life. But what I'm starting to understand is it doesn't come off that way to a lot of women. A lot of women take it in different ways, and I feel like I sounded a little bit insensitive with some of the things I said, and to all the women that were offended about what I said, I apologize to those women. I don't mean to come off, and I've told DDS this many times. He just has a way with his words to where he's able to deliver a message and make a point, and like no one really feels offended or no one feels like their feelings were hurt, and he's just better at that than I am. And I've told him a couple of times. It's probably people that would like to see him distance himself from me, but I know he's not that type of guy. So I know that's not his thing. But I know it's probably been people that then told him, man, you need to get away from that guy, man. He just talked too wild. He just go off the cuff a little too much, you know. And
Well, actually, Marvel, nobody ever even told me that, man. I mean, and even if they did, they can go kick rocks, man. Because the thing about it is, brother, you've been with me, and Animal, Miss Pat, y'all have been with me, almost from the very beginning. So, like, it's like, if they got a problem with it, like, that's going to be like their issue. But I appreciate you coming out and saying that. But it just attests to the type of quality man that you are. A man to actually say, hey, listen, if there was something that I said that was offensive, then I apologize for that. So there are a lot of guys out here, real misogynists, that actually won't say that at all, anything to that nature. You know what I mean? So Miss Pat, this is the deal. What some people is saying that some of the things that I guess Marvel said, they took some issue with, but my thing is that if you understand the context in which it was said, if you've heard his story, if you've been on my channel for any length of time, that you will understand the context in which he's saying these things. Listen, my thing is, as Black men, we express ourselves the way we express ourselves. This is the Black manosphere. So I wanted to have a place, right, where Black men can do exactly that. Now, I just had one sister, Marvel, that expressed some concern. Nobody else really expressed any type of concern about that, or brought that particular point up. I wouldn't worry about that. Now, if you heard, other women, say things that, say, oh, this is the issue on what you said, then, okay, maybe that's a different deal. But for me, just like I said, here in the Black manosphere, brother, this is a space where you can express yourself, give the context, like I give, you adequate time and anybody else adequate time to be able to come up here and express their viewpoints in its totality. Now, if somebody wants to take one small snippet of what you said and twist it, that's what they're doing. You didn't do that, Marvel. You know what I mean? They're twisting the things that you're saying. You know what I mean? It's so easy to do that. You know, even politicians get caught up in this same game. You know, they'll take a little small snippet of what a politician said and turn it to mean something completely like different and outrageous. And then later on, once it comes out that, oh, this was part of a 3 or 4 hour conversation talking about this particular issue, and he gave context to it, then they're looking like fools. See? So, you know, see, brother, I wouldn't change anything. I've been kind of thinking about it myself, and my thing is, that's what this place here is for you to express yourself. If a person has an issue with it, then yeah, they can come up here and speak with us about it, and then we can explain it to them. I don't mind explaining it to them, but to, you know, try to control what men say, that's a problem. That's what women have been trying to do for a long time, trying to control the types of things men say. They want men to talk like women. And see, that's not going to happen here in the Black Manosphere. We want the brothers out here to speak their speech. It just is what it is, brother. Like, I wouldn't even worry about it, but it just shows the type of thought that you put into it about how a woman may feel or women may feel about certain things that you said. You know what I mean? So it proves, just like you and I have said so many times, Mark, is that, you know, we actually do care about what they, you know, about their situation and about what they're thinking and things of that nature. It matters, you know. So it goes against that whole narrative that, oh, Black men hate Black women. See, we've never said that we hated Black women. See, that narrative has been just put out there, pushed out there, just on and on and on. But it's never been shown or proven that you or I, or even Obsidian, or even the Angry Man hate Black women. We all have Black women. We deal with Black women. So see, there's going to be an issue just right there, you know, and it's never come out of our mouths that we had a disdain for Black women. That is something that the gynocracy that they twisted. See, they like to twist the things that we say to make hurt Black women feel better. That's what's going on out here. You know what I mean? But brother, I don't think that we should change, you know, the way we speak, the type of verbiage that we use, because the reality is that this space, brother, is for brothers just like you and I to be able to speak unabated, you know, and not be denigrated for it. And we shouldn't feel ashamed for expressing how we feel. So that's just what I wanted to kind of tell you about that, brother. But yeah, man, like, this just goes to show just the type of level and care that and concern that we have for one woman that came up and expressed an issue about what you said. You know what I mean? So, brother, I wouldn't even worry about that. You know what I mean? And although that particular person, like, I deal with her, that doesn't mean that 99%, 50%, you know, that's just one woman out of millions of women, you know. But so I just wanted to express that to you, brother. But
yeah, brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate you saying that, brother. And you know, you have provided a space for brothers like me and, you know, other brothers that you know, Passport Ray Ray and everyone else that comes through to say how we feel about different things. And, you know, we always will appreciate you for doing that, brother. It's not an easy thing to do with everything going on, the way things are right now in the world. You know, women pretty much can if they voice if they say how they feel enough times and make their voices heard, I mean, you will get these guys to either change the way they think or just you might end up canceling them altogether. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying that's what happened with me, but what actually helped me realize what I said, may have came off insensitive. It wasn't necessarily any women on here. It was I talked to my girlfriend and my daughter's mother, and they both said the same thing because I told them everything that was said. I'm like, I actually talked to my daughter's mother right before I got on the streaming, and I actually asked her, like, remember when you would be cutting up and making me mad, and I'll tell you, hey, if you don't stop, I'm gonna pull off my belt, and and she said, yeah, you used to say that all the time, and I'm like, but she explained to me, she's like, you have to understand, I know you, I actually know you. Them women are just like random women. They don't know you. They hear you say that, and it comes off as it just don't come off right. It's gonna come off bad because you're saying it. You're the way you're saying it. You're saying it like she was like, you're saying it like you're talking to me. But those women feel like you're saying it directly to them. So they're gonna be offended because it's not gonna sound right when you say that on on your platform and just for people to hear. It's gonna come off in not the best way. Kind of almost like a bad joke, I guess you could say, or an offensive joke. And my girlfriend said the same thing. She's because sometimes she'll do little stuff, and I'll say that to her. And I've actually said that over the years to different girlfriends I dealt with, and all they would do is laugh. They would laugh it off, or they'd be like, you just you acting a fool, and just laugh it off. So I guess I got used to that, and I got a little too comfortable in saying it. And I know, and I am not insensitive to women that have been in domestic violence situations, and I'm not, I'm just not that type of person. I care about women, and I know there are women that go through things for real, like real life, real life threatening type of situations that they may have to worry about getting harmed. And I would never condone that. When I said what I said, it wasn't meant to come off in that way, but like my daughter's mother and my girlfriend, like they told me, it don't sound that bad when you saying it when it's just me. They say it sounds okay when you saying it's just me and you, because I know what you mean, but those people don't know what you're talking about. They don't know what you mean, and they basically just said you just don't play any games, and that's how you've always been. And it's not like you're not going to physically actually do that, but you just don't play any games. And I realized that it's not going to sound right if I say that, and women that don't know me, they hear that, they're going to naturally run with that, they're going to run with that way of thinking. And like you said, they will disregard everything we talked about. We talked about a lot of things that night. But what happens is they'll just throw everything we talked about to the side about men improving. We talked about a lot of things. And they would just get that one thing they want to be stuck on and focus in on that and just go laser hard on that, just laser in on that. And I understand, I understand. I can't be mad. I mean, I should have just worded my word. I should have worded everything better. I should have maybe just made another type of analogy or whatever the case may be. I mean, so that's on me, and I can admit
brother.
that.
Yeah, that's fine, brother. And see, I wanted to bring this point up to you, brother, because this just crossed my mind, brother. We don't owe black women anything. Brother, if that's not your girlfriend, if that's not your wife, you don't owe them anything. Just like they don't owe us anything, we don't owe them anything. The time of day, no. Yeah, because the way this social system has been going on so far, the dynamics between black women and black men, particularly online, brother, you don't owe any woman online an apology or anything of that nature. Yeah, because think about it like this, brother. Do you know how many times black women have said derogatory and disrespectful things about black men, brother, and are unapologetic about it, are steadfast in it, will not budge off of their points? And see, this is the type of thing where, okay, where two can play this game. So, so although we have expressed and said, okay, that was disrespectful, hateful rhetoric, you don't apologize for it, don't want to walk it back at all. Well, guess what? The same can be thrown back at them. The same deal, brother. So we don't owe them anything. You know what I mean? Like an apology. So this space is for brothers just like you who said exactly what you said to be able to get up here and express how you feel. If they want to take it and twist it to mean something else, that's a problem on them, because you gave adequate context, and we're giving adequate context to the things that you said. You know what I mean? Like that has been, actually, you've said that, and I've said it as well on numerous streams in the past. So there's a context. There are levels to this ish. Like people say, there are levels to this ish. So what I'm saying, brother, is that don't feel bad, bro, but I do think that, I mean, you doing this, just like I said, shows a level of understanding, a level of, you know, having compassion, in a sense, that they try to say men don't have. They try to say that men don't understand or can't apologize or don't have emotional intelligence. That's the term that they like to use, this quote unquote emotional intelligence. Well, what you just demonstrated here, brother, is that, you know, you recognize that maybe some of the things that you said could be interpreted as being insensitive to women, you know, and problematic for them. So you are able to recognize that, you know, and are able to admit to that and say, well, I apologize to anyone who may have taken that in a different way than what I intended. So that right there proves the gynocracy wrong right there. You're a black man who has been able to come up here and say, okay, I apologize for something that I said that could have been insensitive to certain women or to some women, right? But let's see if we can find women that have said some insensitive things, you know, do the same thing. I highly doubt it, brother. And that is why Obsidian said in his book and says, you know, on his channel with his content, that we don't owe black women anything. The time of the old days are over. These old days of there being a blanket protection and things of that nature are over. Those days are long gone. These women, these modern women, are not the same women, you know, of the past. Like Miss Pat here. Miss Pat comes from a generation of women who understood, you know, what men wanted, the things that men were looking for. She understood, you know, her generation of women were able to comprehend that and be able to compromise, work with a man, you know, talk, you know, deal with men in a productive way, in a way where, you know, they're married. They were actually married back then. Now people are not getting married. And see, you know, brother, I plan on having a conversation here about that topic probably tomorrow, but the modern women of today don't have, you know, they're not equipped to be married. Marriage requires things that these women just simply don't have. They don't possess it. Now they have physical things that men still want, but as far as marriage, that's a whole nother level of cooperation, compromise, understanding, respect that these women of today, these modern women, and that's why Kevin Samuels always talked about the modern woman, because these women are not the same women of the past. These women are diametrically opposed to any of the values, any of the traditional concepts that actually worked in the past. Those things worked, but they took more favor to this progressive type of mindset, this liberal type of mindset, where they feel as though they don't have to be held accountable to anybody. They can live their best life and are still expected to be accepted. You know what? You know, they can do dirty, low down things to men and are expected to be put up on a pedestal like traditional women. No, we are not going to see, and that's the thing. Men have stayed generally traditional minded. Men are still looking for the same things that they looked for 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's these women who have kind of changed their expectations, you know, changed their mindset, you know, changed their values, changed their ideas. And it's really unfortunate, brother, because if you think about the feminist movements, every feminist movement, unfortunately, there became a degradation of traditional values. That's really, really unfortunate. Really, really unfortunate. But I want to get Miss Pat's ideas and concepts on these issues. And listen, it's okay, you know, to have a differing opinion. Like, I always welcome different opinions, because just like I said, Marvel, and I've always said this on my channel, is that I've taken a lot of L's over the years, but I learn and grow and have an understanding. That's what this is supposed to be about. You know what I mean? So it's okay to have a difference of opinion. You know, I don't have any problem with a person having a different opinion than mine and actually being able to back it up. You know what I mean? But my thing is, for some reason, and that's why I was saying last week, people have gotten so thin-skinned now to the point where they have tied their femininity and they've tied their masculinity to the arguments. It doesn't make you less of a woman or less of a man if you lose an argument against the opposite gender. You know, for some reason, people have gotten so emotional about arguments. You know what I mean? Listen, just present the argument. If the argument gets defeated, that's fine. You still deserve respect. Everybody still deserves respect. Even if they don't win an argument, you know, listen, they can come back and win the argument. If they come back with data and stats to come back and say, oh, listen, I was actually right on this. See what I mean? Like, I have always been open to that. But yeah, Miss Pat, I want to get your quick, well, not quick, but just, I want to get your opinion on this. I would like to, you know, see what you think about this so far.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And it's good talking with you and Marvel. Marvel, I don't get offended by anything you say, because I think we're all grown here and we're all supposed to be accountable. We're accountable for whatever we're sharing with one another, and those things can be said. And if the shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't apply. So, you know, I don't get offended by anything that doesn't apply to me. Now, in the marriage situation, there used to be a time when marriage was encouraged, but it was kind of a double-edged sword, because the minute a woman grew from a girl into a woman, and it can be as young as 11 all the way up to 16 or 17. European women usually, you know, got more mature towards the 17 through 20 age. And then the warmer climate people developed earlier because they had better nutrition and everything. So to make a long story short, women were usually, you know, betrothed to somebody when she was reproducible age, and they wanted her to be healthy and be able to reproduce as soon as possible so they could have as many children as possible. Now, this was counterproductive in this time and age. And also, when parents betrothed their child to she was literally a child to a man. He was like a second father to her, only he was not really her father. He just reproduced with her, but he had to still treat her as a father. And it was usually an older man or somebody who was capable of supporting a family. And if usually that's an older person who had time to work and build, their legacy. So usually it was young women. They weren't really women. They were still girls, in my opinion, married off. And so they didn't have time to learn anything to argue against. They were, shifted from one protective family to another. In some cases, that worked out very nicely for her because she was always protected. But in other cases, the parent would say they just wanted to throw her away, hurry up and get her out of here because she's costing us money. We don't want to be responsible for taking care of her because taking care of girls can be very expensive, and they're not actually providers, but the men are providers, so they'll keep them around because they go out and hunt and get everything. But the women are totally dependent and they're having babies. So you want somebody to take care of her and those babies. So that's why it's handled that way. But in today's society, marriage isn't valued because it's not a reproductive nature for it. It's not it's not worth it to the families to share funds. So it's not considered, and it's like property transfer. And it's not benefiting anyone now. That's why people don't want to get married. So, but actually in today's world, marriage is an asset because it's a partnership, and we still need to founder families. You cannot have a family without a marriage. You can, but it's very difficult and it's very discombobulated. So it's better to have that bond. Now, you don't even have to live together as a married couple if you don't want to. You can still raise your children or whatever. But, fundamentally, you've bonded together to have another person come into the world. So you're both responsible for raising that person and making the best out of it. So that's why marriage, they say it doesn't benefit women, it doesn't benefit men. It's not supposed to, quote unquote, really benefit anybody in the material sense. It's supposed to benefit in the familial sense and in the spiritual sense. So until people get with that program, marriage is never going to work for them, So at any rate, that's my whole thing about the marriage thing. I want people to be married, but if they're not marrying for the good reasons, if it's all about, oh, well, I'm going to marry this prestigious person, or I want to have a blue bloodline here, and people are marrying their relatives like they did in Europe just to keep the money in the family, or they're betrothing this poor little girl to this old man because it's just the selling of property. That in this day and age isn't functional. So, and then of course, with the people of today, the quote unquote modern people, it's not working for them either because we all have to take care of ourselves. If you can't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of someone else, and you can't take care of each other, and you can't take care of your children, your offspring. So all that's got to be well coordinated before someone can claim to be in a marriage. So yeah, I'm with it. I want people to be cooperative with one another. You cannot be in a family situation and be selfish, and you can't be in a family situation and be uncooperative. We have to be team players on here. I mean, and that's why if the manosphere wants to express themselves, because the women have abused them and they have been abusive, okay, and vice versa, but we have to take accountability for abuse as well. as women, we have abused our male counterparts. And if you don't believe me, look at Tyler Perry's story, how he was abused. You know his mother. I saw his new show, and his mother, actually had him out of wedlock, not with her husband. And then that's why his father supposedly abused him all the time. He found out that wasn't even a relative of his. Somehow she accidentally had him through somebody else. And they did the DNA work to find out about it. You should see that story. It's on Prime. It's called So and So's Child or Baby. I'm somebody's baby. But it was the newest Tyler Perry story. But what I found fascinating about that, he loved his mother so dearly. But what he didn't realize was she was guilty of having a child within their marriage that wasn't his child. Now, how do you expect a man to act when he is degraded like that? Do you realize that in Spain, they were allowed to kill people for that? They were allowed to kill the lover and kill the woman. And when people committed adultery over here, they put you on a chopping block, put an A around you, and threw tomatoes at you and put you out on the front line as ridicule for being an adulterer. In the Middle East, adulterers die. It's a death penalty. Now, I think that's very harsh, but I'm gonna be honest with you, there is no excuse for it. There's no excuse for adultery, especially in a place where you can actually get a divorce. Okay? So this woman, he said that his mother was abused and beat up by his father, but he stayed there and supported the family. You see what I'm saying? So she's going to take that L, right? Because she fooled around on her husband. Now, he probably fooled around on her too. But when you think about it, where he came from, where he was abused as a child, and then you have the mother who was probably experienced terrible sexual abuse of some kind, you're going to have misbehavior out here. But at the same time, you got to address that and wonder why. How can I be a partner with somebody? And the last thing you need to do is be disrespectful, hurtful, abusive, and degrade them by being dishonorable. And believe me, that type of dishonor throughout the generations of human mankind has always been treated harshly. It's just nowadays, it's like it's a norm or something, like they praise you for doing this. I've always felt that that was a terrible thing to do. That's the rottenest thing you can do to anybody. It's worse than murdering somebody in some cases, because you degrade that person so bad. And then you're going to have a child, and then they're supporting you all this time. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't be upset? So now you've got men out here who have been abused. They grew up under abusive situations. They had the females who did not respect them, treat them like dirt, and then they expect to be protected. Now, I'm glad that there are some situations that's being corrected. I am glad that the YouTube streets are starting to recognize this has got to stop. And they're going to step on some heads. Some heads are going to roll because of this. They've taken channels down with people expressing this type of hate. It's just like racial hate, in my opinion. You don't express that type of thing because it's nothing but hurt. It doesn't help anything. So if you want to get together, you want to have family, which is the foundation of humanity, that is what you've got to do, is respect one another. Don't talk about men like they're dirt, and don't talk about women like they're dirt, but we can still express what we're doing wrong. If she can't cook worth a damn, and you know, well, that can be a problem. Like, for instance, I was a health food nut. I could make tofu casserole. Well, my husband wasn't exactly crazy about the tofu casserole. He wasn't going to live off of that for the rest of his life. So he said, oh no, you've got to fix a few more things. So I did take the initiative to learn. Okay. Now he couldn't always cook because he was in and out of town. He had a traveling position, so he couldn't always be cooking. And I had kids and, I was just used to knowing how to cook a little bit, so I didn't mind doing it, but there are some women who refuse to cook. Well, if you refuse to cook, then you better hire somebody and you can pay all that extra money for takeout and see how healthy you're going to be later on. Okay. I mean, it's not worth it, take it. And that's not a feminist move anyway, whether you cook or not. That's not important. And what's important is that you nurture your family and they will in return nurture you and protect you. But it's got to go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. You understand? So that's my whole take on it. And the men, I want them to tell the truth of what they're feeling. I want them to share what is really going on out there, because I had no idea all of this was going on. Honestly, I didn't know. So that's my take.
Yeah, that was very well put. That was very well put, Miss Pat. I mean, you covered a lot of bases right there. I mean, your knowledge. See,
that was
that's
great.
why.
That was great.
Yeah, that's why I really like you up here, Miss Pat, is because you have so much to offer to the younger generations of Black men and Black women out here as far as information. Like, you talked about how like the certain climates, had an effect on women's reproductive, years and things of that nature. And I agree with you on the, thing about marriage. It's about being team players. Like, people can't be selfish and not able to collaborate and coordinate. It's just not going to work. You know what I mean? Like, I just totally agree with you. I mean, at some point, people just have to, do this for the right reasons. And like you said, if y'all not doing this for the right reasons, if people are not getting married for the right reasons, because, Miss Pat, I noticed this, is that, and I've told Marvel this before, right, is that it seems like women are getting married for the ceremony. Like, they want to get married just for that particular, like, that day, you know what I mean? To be like the bride and to be like the, to have all of this, attention and adornment and, it just to be her day. Like, they're getting married for that wedding, but that's really unfortunate. It's not going to work, long term, because the marriage is well beyond the wedding day. It's well beyond that. Like, it's supposed to be your lifetime. That is what that is supposed to represent. You and her have gotten up before God, before the state, before your family, before your friends, and everybody else in public, to say, we have decided to be together for the rest of our lives. That's a serious commitment. And I don't think people are taking it as serious as they should, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, but you got to do it for the right reasons. Just like you said, Miss Pat, it has to be because you two really do care about each other. You two really want to be together and work this out. It's not a one-way street. It's going to be both, like a two-way deal. Like, it has to be both of you guys working together as one. It has to be that way. It can't be she doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, and no, it's not going to work. Y'all have to be doing this thing together for the family, particularly if you have children. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you have children, then the children are supposed to come first. So you two are supposed to definitely work together then. And see, that's why a lot of times, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Miss Pat, also, is that I've noticed a lot of times when people get married, everything's fine. But then as soon as they have children, that's when a lot of the problems and issues start. So you know what? I want to get your thoughts on that. Why do you think that that happens where, you know, everything is fine, even in these non-marriage relationships, everything is fine. But as soon as there's a child involved or a child becomes in this world, then that's when there are a lot of tensions, a lot of issues bubble up to the surface, and you know, it dissolves, like it doesn't work. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, Miss Pat, real quick. Yeah.
Yes, I did notice that. I thought it was awfully strange that marriages break up when the child is not even school age yet. It can be a baby as young as 6 months and they split up. I don't understand that to save my life. One thing is, how long does it take for you to figure out you don't like each other anymore just because the kid came? The kid was there before the kid came, you were crazy about each other. So I don't understand, once the kid gets there, you don't like each other anymore. I don't understand. You know, I know it takes a long time to take care of children. It's an 18 to 21 year commitment minimum. So now you may not be able to last that long, but I never could understand these couples breaking up before the child was even a year old. It's like you abandon each other just because the baby's little. Um, Maybe the baby keeps them up all night or something. I don't know. I've had 3 children and I never wanted to leave my husband and he didn't want to leave me. Now, the thing about it is, though, they will keep you up all night. And you don't, you know, I remember we went to when we were both, pregnant with the first child, and we went to the baby classes, and they warned us at the hospital that now you may have to change your lifestyle. You may not have intimate relations as often as you did before the kid was born, because you got to, take care of the kid and everything. But I must vouch that that's not true. But at any rate, the children do not break up a marriage. People break up their own marriage. Okay, I don't blame it on the kid, but it's unfortunate because that kid needs both parents. Even when they're little and they're just babies, they need that man there, that strong, warm man. They need the mama there, the soft mommy who feeds them. They need all of it. Okay, we made it together. We should be together for that child. Now, the thing is, there may be some outside interference that may affect when the kids come along. Okay, what if the in-laws don't like you or your spouse, and then they have a problem with the raising a child? Religion is a big part of that. Say if you're Catholic and the other people are Baptist or they're Jewish, that can create a huge problem when the kid is born. But wouldn't you think that you would figure that out before the baby's born? I don't understand. Was it an accident? Even if it was, if a life comes into the world, you can still take care of that life because God gave us the ability to do it. You understand? So I don't understand why couples will fight all of a sudden when the baby's around. If anything, they should get more congealed. Now, I understand a comment you made earlier. When people get married, they just want it for the wedding day, get the attention and all that for the wedding day. That's an interesting thing because, yes, they do have some beautiful wedding gowns out there. It's beautiful. You feel beautiful. That's supposed to be your most beautiful day, and all your family and everybody's around, and it's like you're a celebrity for one day. But let's be clear, weddings are very expensive. Okay. I think I don't remember how much my wedding was, but I made my own wedding dress. It turned out just like a beautiful dress. It was like a Vogue magazine dress. I could sew because my grandmother taught me how to sew. Um, but it was if it wasn't for us making our own wedding clothes, a lot of us wouldn't be able to afford to get married. Have you gone and seen the prices of wedding dresses? My sisters got married and they both had wedding dresses that were a minimum of 10 grand. Okay. $10,000 for a dress that you're going to wear one time. You're going to pack it away, hopefully in a storage. I packed mine in a one of those storages that you'll keep it forever, prevention, so you can take it out again and it looks like new. But it's expensive to pack it like that. You have to take it to the cleaners and get them to do it or something. I spent about 150 or something like that to have it packed like that, so it lasts forever, right? It's like freezing it in a vacuum or something. But it's pretty hilarious. But at any rate, and the men, they get a tuxedo, right? They usually rent them. They don't buy them. I wish my husband had bought his because he looked so handsome in it. But it's not the same for men. They don't get all the attention and the glory and all that kind of stuff. Anything they're probably put on the spot. And I don't like that. I think they ought to get the same attention and everything. But once that marriage is congealed, once it's there, it's a responsibility after that. It's not fun and games anymore. It's a big responsibility. And that's why they celebrate it so much, because it's like you've crossed the broom. You have decided to go into a different phase of life. And it's a commitment. You see, that's why it's a celebration. It's not to play dress up. You know what I mean? And if that's what you want to do is play dress up, go model a wedding gown or something. Don't pay for it, just model it. I will never do anything just for dress up. I've got to take on the real role of it. Now, what's interesting is that the Sex and the City, series where they were trying on all these wedding gowns and everything. Oh, they were gorgeous gowns, absolutely gorgeous. And now they always have those pictures of wedding gowns, like, if you want to look in the magazines or online or something. And, for any woman who wants to, look gorgeous one day in her life, oh, it's fun. It's beautiful, but it's supposed to be significant. I don't care if you get married in a paper sack. The whole point is you could go down to the courthouse in front of a judge, or you can just cross a bridge. You don't even have to have a minister, but what's really in your spiritual soul that makes that marriage work. Now, I do think it needs to be a witnessed situation, because you're accounting to other people and to, your belief system in this. But I think a lot of it is too commercialized and very wasteful. With the money that was spent on weddings, you could be supporting, that's somebody's payroll for, somebody's yearly salary. You see what I'm saying? Which you're paying for a wedding $50,000, $20,000. I've seen people get married and spend that kind of money. And then 3 years later, they're divorced. Oh, if I were their parents, I would be mad. I would make them pay me my money back. I'm serious. I would want my money back.
Yeah, I heard that. You know what? I was Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Marvin, what you think, brother, about that whole concept about when, people get, married, or even if they're just together, and all of a sudden, they have a child. Now it becomes an issue. Now all of a sudden, there are, therapy is needed. All of these things are coming up. All of these traumas or issues, emotional, psychological, whatever, is coming up to the surface. It's all bubbling up now, but why? What I'm saying? Like, it just seems very interesting. So what do you think about that, brother?
You know what, brother? I would never discount what women go through as far as bringing children into the world, and you know that I've actually went through that myself with my daughter's mother. She was one way when before I got her pregnant. She was more bubbly, happy go lucky, always smiling. I actually told her that not that long ago. I told her that it was you know, she smiled more when we were together in the initial stages and over time that we were together. But when she became pregnant, is actually when it started. When she became pregnant, she started not to be as happy, real moody. I understand, you know, just the ups and downs of a woman having, you know, been being pregnant and everything like that. So I understand that. But even after our daughter was born, I still noticed just little things, just things were off. I mean, we were doing good, but it was just certain times that things didn't seem right. The romantic time wasn't the same. Just us spending time together. Now, I will admit, and especially in the early years of my daughter being a little baby, everybody wanted to watch her. We didn't really let anybody watch her, but I did let my mother. We let my mother and father watch her a lot. And whenever we would do little date nights, movie nights, things like that. And I would see the old version of her whenever we would do that. But then we would go back to just having to be responsible and have our daughter, and she has her daughter that's not mine, and we're just together. I just noticed that she was like a little bit down, and she wasn't her normal self. But she would go back to being her old self and normal. So whenever it was just me and her spending time together, and it got to a point where I had to just I had to sit her down and just like, hey, what's going on? Because my thing is, I'm happy. When the kids were around, I was happy. I was my same regular self all the time. Whether the kids are there or if they're with my mother and father. And it even got to a point to where my mother and father would watch her child that's not mine. So they'd be watching, our daughter and my stepdaughter. And and she would be her happy self, and she would be she will remind me of how she was when I was in the beginning when I was courting her, trying to be with her. And so I will see like little nice flashbacks of that. But I just believe that it's just one of those things that a lot of women, they just get down on themselves after they have that child. They're not. I've just seen that so many times. They question everything. They question how they look. They question how they how they sound, how they act, whatever the case may be, and everything is just they just blow. They're gonna blow everything up and just make it about maybe just I'm I'm just too worried about myself, and I'm self-conscious, and I don't have as much confidence as I once did, and I'm not the same lady I was at first. I didn't have this baby, and now I feel like I'm just a totally different person, and I've seen that so many times, and I've seen that with my daughter's mother. Like I told you before, Miss Pat and DDS, I didn't really get to know my son's mother like that. I mean, even to this day, I don't really know a whole lot about her. I know the basic, the basic things of just the basics when it comes to her. But my daughter's mother, I know her through and through, and I just seen the difference on how she was when we first started dealing with each other, and then how she ended up becoming, when my daughter came into the world. And then I've noticed as she's gotten older and older, my daughter's mother, she just it doesn't take much for her to get down on herself. And like I was just over there earlier, and she was just real down. I'm like, what's wrong with you? She's like, I'm just depressed. This time of the year make me depressed because I'm just, and she brought up the fact that, I'm used to us being with you and we all being at your house. And I'm just like, hey, I can't do anything about that. I'm like, this is what you wanted. I'm like, this is what you wanted. I can't read your mind. I can't force you to stay in my house. I'm like, what you want me to do? Lock you in my house? And then she's so crazy. She's like, you know what? Sometimes I wish you would have locked me in your house, so I would have never left, and I wouldn't have to go through all this hell. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, this is what you wanted to do. I can't force you to do something that you wanted to leave, and you felt like it was time for you to go. So I can't like keep you chained up. And that's another thing, DDS and Miss Pat. I don't mean to switch the subject or anything, but this thing with these women saying, you're making women baby mamas if you just have the baby and y'all don't get married. Like, these crazy ass women don't understand. Like, I had every intention of marrying my daughter's mother. That's what I wanted to do. She was the one that felt bad about people giving her a hard time. Different people saying, "Oh, he just take care of you, and you don't have to do anything." And she had people in her family saying stuff to her like that. But I'm like, I can't do anything about that. I'm like, I am the man that's all about getting married. It actually makes me feel guilty that I'm not married because everybody else around me is. My mom and dad been married for over 40 years. My brothers they've been married to over 8 and 5 years respectively. They both. I mean, I'm the only one that's not. My grandparents were married for long. I got uncles. Aunts been married for a long time. So I feel like I'm breaking the tradition by not being married. I do feel bad about that. So I'm really tired of these women saying that we're making them baby mamas and the men just don't want to get married. That's just like that's propaganda. And that bullshit need to stop. And I'm sick of it. Like I said, I had every intention of. Go
why
ahead, y'all.
didn't they get married before the child was born? Then I don't understand how you make somebody a baby mama when she didn't marry before the kid was born.
Yeah, you're right, Miss Pat. I agree. I know some people that say, "Well, that's your fault. You should have married him before y'all made the baby." I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that on the chin. It's all good. But you're right, Miss Pat. I had every intention of doing that. I don't know. I mean, it's just so many things that just get thrown on us, and as men, black men, that's not what I wanted. And I will say
no.
it.
And you see, what I meant, Marvel, was that she was probably the one not wanting to get married. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Men
you're right.
Married.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You're completely right.
And you can't make somebody a baby mama if they were the ones who didn't want to get married. She made you the baby daddy, then. I mean, that term is silly.
Yeah.
Because they if they don't want to get married, but they still want to have kids. And I know people personally in my age group, of course, as well, who refused to get married, but they wanted to have kids anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm like, why are you doing that? Why? Because they didn't want accountability to that person.
Well, Miss Pat, you understand a lot of these things.
Kid, Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You understand a lot of these things. It's just, and I wish we had more women like you in this space and just on here all together. I mean, things would be, if we had more women like you, Miss Pat, things would be a whole lot different. I feel like the dynamic would be a whole lot better. It'd be more positive content being made. And the women wouldn't come off so angry and so just out of their mind. Like they would actually be able to look back on different things and say, I can understand or I can empathize. I'm not saying you have to sympathize, but at least be able to empathize with what different people are saying. And I've actually told similar stories to that many a times. I mean, it's just funny to me because it's like everybody just get what they want to get, and they just run with that. I had no intentions of not marry. I had every intention of marrying my daughter's mother. Like I can admit, I had no intention of marrying my son's mother. I can admit that with no problem. Now, if you want to throw that on me, like I'm not making women do anything. Like the women, both of those women that have my children, they knew what they wanted and we did what they wanted. There was none of this stuff of me saying, I'm gonna break up with you if you don't have my child. It was never no stuff like that. I've never been that type of person. You may have guys that think like that. I'm not like that. I had every intention of spending the rest of my life with my daughter's mother, and to the point to where she even to this day, she knows my whole family, extended family. Of course, my immediate family. All my cousins, uncles. She knows everybody. Like I don't really know. I mean, I know some of her family, but she knows all of my family. And everyone, and even to this day, people ask me, "Hey, whatever happened with y'all? Why y'all? I thought y'all was supposed to get married." And I'm like, "Yeah, we were supposed to, but things didn't work out." And I mean, I feel like she's kind of going through it right now because I was over there earlier, like I said, and she was real sad. She was crying, and I know why she's crying. She don't have to. At this point, she don't even have to tell me no more. Like I asked her what's wrong with her, and she don't say nothing. I already know what it is. And but I mean, we're past that now. I mean, I'm in a new relationship. I mean, and DDS, I think I told you about this a while back, brother. I tried for years to try to get it to where we could get back to that level, and eventually, I wanted us to be a family
like the family I grew up in. Like I grew up with my mother and my father. They still in my life right now. They still doing well. They're doing real good. So that I feel like I owe that to my daughter and to my son. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but I mean that's what I wanted to. I wanted them to experience the same experience me and my brothers had. We always woke up in the morning and went to bed at night knowing that our mother and father were under the same roof and we could go to them anytime we wanted. I wanted that for my daughter. I knew I wasn't going to be able to have that for my son, but I wanted that for my daughter. And I wanted my son to feel, to be a part of all of that with, my daughter's mother and us being together and being a happy family and being married and all that stuff. But we have to tell the truth. Every woman don't want what you want. Like my daughter's mother didn't grow up the way I did. She didn't have like her mother and father in her life like that. And I had my mother and father. They still in my life. So I feel like it'd be only right to give my daughter and my son that same dynamic. And every woman don't want that. And that's what these women that talk real crazy, they fail to mention that. They don't even bring that part of it up. The women don't want that. They may even get to the point to where they spite you. They look at you upside your head because of the fact you had your family in your life and maybe she didn't. And then that alone may make it to where she says, you know what, I don't want that. I don't want to have no happy family. I just want to have the child just be going back and forth like how I did when I was growing up. Every woman don't want what we want. There are lots of men that want to have the nuclear family and that family dynamic and the positivity that comes with all that. But if the women, and these women, they know how they are. These are like very toxic, out of control, losing their mind type of women. These women, they don't want that. They don't want to stay at home and do family nights and play the little board games. Hey, that's not the type of women we're dealing with right now. And I'm not trying to come off as like this guy. Like you know how it go, brother. I'm not trying to come off as the harsh, brash man. I'm not. But that's just what it is. When I grew up.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question. All right. So if they don't want to do the family thing, what are they doing there?
Miss Pat, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I don't know what it is. It's just out of control. It's all over the place. I mean, the kids.
I mean, is it a career or is it a business? Is it like? I mean, do they party?
It's dysfunction. I'll tell you what it is.
Are they doing?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is real quick. Like, this is the thing is that, like Marvel just said, there are a lot of women out here that put on this front, right? That, oh, I want to be married. I should have been married. Y'all don't want to marry. But then when they're confronted with a guy that's willing to marry them, take care of them to a point where they don't have to work. They don't want that because, see, this is the deal. They're going through a crisis, and it's a crisis that was generated by society. Society told these women that they should be out here working, that they could be strong and independent, that I could do bad all by myself. This liberal type of ideology, this progressive type of thought processes. So they start to get depressed and feel bad when, they're not out there doing something like that. See, a lot of these women feel as though they're supposed to be out here operating as men, that they're supposed to be operating like a man operate. See, and that's society's fault. They have put this on these women to make these women think that that's how they're supposed to be out here operating. And that's why there are a lot of social pressures on these women right now to do what they're doing, like to be uncooperative, to not want to, be the submissive housewife or just a housewife, taking care of business at home. Like they just feel bad about doing that. Marvel's absolutely right, because I mean, I could tell you this is that I know a family member that went through the same thing. He made a substantial amount of money, but the woman that he was with, his wife, didn't feel comfortable not going out there having a job, doing anything, paying anything. Like, so I'm thinking that there's like a dilemma going on or a crisis going on with a lot of these women. But like, you know, these are not the same types of women. And Marvel just pointed that out perfectly clear, is that these are not the same types of women that of the past. These women have a different mindset. Like, their mindset is completely different. Like, they just don't want. I have a feeling and an inclination. No, I have an inclination, and there's a lot of evidence to back this up, that they just simply don't want to be kept women. They don't want to be kept types of women. They want to be, quote unquote, and excuse the language, boss bitches. That's what they want to be. They want to be boss bitches out here. But that's not going to work with a traditional type of dude. That type of mindset don't work with a guy like me. That type of mindset don't work with a guy like Marv. You know, we think more in traditional terms and mindsets and have those types of values, you know. So it's unfortunate because they're missing out on the men that actually do care about them, you know, that do, you know, want to provide and do all of the things that they front and say that men don't do. We are willing to do that. But really, when it comes down to it, and like Marvel just said it, you know, hey, they get depressed, they have an issue, they get down on themselves, and then as a result, weight gain, psychological issues, you know, things that they don't see help for, it festers, and then the next thing, you know, it's just an untenable relationship. Like, it's just not going to work. So, like, I think that a lot of this is going on, Miss Animal, is that these women just are not the same type of ilk as those women of the past. Like, they have a lot of different types of social pressures put on them, and all of a sudden they feel like they're worthless because, you know, they're not out there being the quote unquote boss bitch and, you know, paying her way and being strong and independent. See, that's the thing, is when they first came out with that strong and independent rhetoric and things of that nature, that's when the tide really shifted. You know what I mean? That was when, you know, things went like really left, because a lot of men felt alienated by that type of rhetoric. So you're strong and independent. So you're basically telling me that I'm not needed. You don't need me. So what the hell are we getting married for? You know what I mean? Like, why are we even together? Like, how is this even going to work if the mindset is that, well, I can take care of myself, I don't need you, you know, you just a help around here, you know, that kind of, you know, deal. That's not going to work. That's not how you're supposed to deal with the opposite sex. Y'all supposed to be working together for a common goal, for the family unit, you know. But it's the women that have the children. See, so they are supposed to be more naturally inclined to be caregivers, to stay home, to provide, to be there for that child, you know, because there's a very strong biological, psychological bond. And I know that you can talk to this, Miss Pat. There's a biological and psychological bond like no other between a mother and her child. So when she's out there trying to be a boss bitch, right? Not there with her child and got her child in daycare with some other people while she's out here doing her own thing, you know, what happens to that child then? That child also feels alienated because he or she is not with his mother or her mother. You know, that child feels abandoned, you know, but she could have easily been there, but because society has put all these pressures on her to feel as though she has to go out here and do all of these things. And in some circumstances, now, like I will say this, okay, in some circumstances, she does have to go out there and do all this. And that's really unfortunate because the guy that she chose to be with ain't about ish. He ain't making no money. He ain't doing nothing. So in that type of a scenario, she does have to go out there and do those things. But there are a lot of other scenarios and circumstances where that's not the case. But it's been like a social construct. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's a social construct that it's expected of women to go out here and work, to be strong and independent. And that's the problem. That's where the problem is at. Now, if they're doing it because the particular relationship that they're in, the guy that they're dealing with, ain't about ish, okay, that's understandable. But it's still sort of their fault because she is in a she has decided to be in this relationship with this particular individual. See, so there's still some accountability on her part for that. But as far as the Black manosphere is concerned, we're looking at the social construct. The social construct is problematic because the social construct is telling all women generally across the board that they're supposed to go out here, work, and provide, and do all of these things. And see, their natural role is anything really but that. Their natural role is to be a nurturer and a caregiver of their children. And with those other constraints there, that could be, you know, a really big issue. And then also relationship wise, particularly if she's the one paying all the bills or bringing in all the money, then, you know, that causes a situation where a man feels unappreciated or feels like he's not doing what he's supposed to do because she's going out here doing all of these things. But I just wanted to get your perspective on that, Miss Pat. But I know I brought up a lot of different scenarios, and this is the thing: there are a lot of different cases, a lot of different examples. Some examples are understandable, but what we're looking at, just like I said, is the social construct generally across the board that has been so problematic and causing a lot of women to feel as though that they're worthless because they're not, you know, out here working, just like the situation Marvel explained. That could be problematic. So I just want to get your perspective on that, Miss Pat.
Well, yes, the women working in independence. Now, I know that's a bit of a disturbing concept now. It wasn't for a while because the reason why women really needed to be self-sufficient and independent and strong, as they call it, I call it being self-sufficient, because you're supposed to be an adult. And, you know, an adult is supposed to be responsible for themselves before they can take care of anybody else or be with anybody else. But also it protects women from abject poverty if she's able to maintain an education and a career. So in case something happens to her spouse, her babies will still be able to be taken care of, and she won't have to depend on other family members to help her out. Because back in the day, if a woman lost her spouse or they broke up or whatever the case may be, she was left with the kids and she probably didn't have any skills to work. So her family had to take care of her. And a lot of families do not want the burden of the girl and the babies. That's why they sell them over to the the husband to take care of them. But nowadays, that's just not the way it is anymore. And so women have to protect themselves and their own psyche by knowing that they can look after themselves and they're not completely threatened and devastated if something happens to the husband. Also, the way the society has treated men, and particularly Black men, they don't give them fair level playing field. Not all of them are going to get wealthy enough to support a whole family on their own. And if they do, there's always something that's thrown in the mix to ruin everything. I mean, look at Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. I mean, now they're trying to make him out to be, the worst person in the world and break up another happy Black marriage. I mean, and they're filthy rich. Look at what they did to Bill Cosby. Him and his wife stayed together, right? He's rich as I don't know what. He contributed to everything, but guess what? The society managed to do something to him and his wife just to break up their family. I mean, really, it seems to be a trend. Look what they did to Michael Jackson. Look what they did to, and anybody that tried to have a partnership with anybody, they ruined it. Kanye West. Look what they did to him. He's a very, very successful man, but look with how they treat him. So can you imagine the everyday working person, what they have to go through? And they basically, and with the economy the way it is, nobody can, support a whole family. And if you can, go ahead, but be prepared if you don't. I knew a lady who married a very wealthy man, and something happened to him, and she had to work and take care of her family. I mean, I've seen this happen many times. And so women do need to be self-sufficient. They also need to know that, now being just self-sufficient just to be the boss bitch. No, that's not the whole idea. And that has caused the problem. Okay. It's sort of like an overgrowth of ego. And the ego always gets in the way with people. It's like a cancerous, keloid that grows on somebody and becomes very ugly. That's what happened to the self-sufficient woman. Okay. And that is not meant to be. It's not supposed to be that way. If she's self-sufficient, it's so she can be the help meet for the family. And at the same time, the man can still be there for the family, whether he's working or not. He may be able to do other things that women can't do. So we can't just throw him away, throw the baby out with bathwater because he doesn't have the job and she's got the high paying job. No, that's not it. So people got to get off of that. They got it all backwards. Okay. Just because women get an education and work, and if she can have the highest of education, she can be a leader. I knew women who were medical doctors, heart surgeons, all that, but they were still wives to their husband. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Now, a few of them got a divorce. A few of them did get a divorce now. I mean, unfortunate. But
I mean, that was well put, Miss Pat. You know what? You dropped a bomb right there. I wish I had my bomb thing, but you dropped a bomb right there. You said that self-sufficiency is like an overgrowth of ego, an overgrowth of it. Like, I've never heard a person describe that like that. I mean, that's amazing to me. That is amazing to me. But basically, like, that whole soliloquy that I went through is basically trying to say what you said right there, Miss Anna, was that the issue is that it's gotten to a point where this self-sufficiency has like overgrown itself to a point of just of being the problem. That's where the problem is. Like, it's just gotten, the ego has gotten really large to a point where they feel as though this social construct is pushing them to continue doing this even when they don't have to. Like, it's okay to be self-sufficient. I don't have a problem with women working. I don't have a problem with women getting an education and doing all of the things that they want to do as far as those things are concerned. But just like you said, it becomes a problem when, okay, if it's time to have a child and, you know, the husband is working and it's not necessary for her to work as much, but she continues to want to keep working and actually keep working more and, be like masculine in the sense of trying to like just, get more and more and more and more, and not having time for her natural role as a caregiver, as a nurturer to her children, and to be there for her husband. But the way you described that was outstanding. That was basically what I was trying to say during that whole spiel that I was going through right there. But I
Well,
definitely agree
when you
with you.
said,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I definitely agree with you. That's really what I was
uh-huh.
trying to get to, but I didn't know quite how to like articulate it, like that. But that overgrowth of ego is exactly, that the problem and the issue
Yeah.
is that
Yes,
they
but
don't want
yes,
to
the
like
boss.
take the back seat.
Uh-huh.
They don't want to take that back seat. But go ahead, Miss Pat. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I said that as a keloid overgrowth of ego because the boss bitch is the keloid overgrowth. I think it's obnoxious, and that's not the purpose for being, uh, self-sufficient or helping support a family or whatever, or having to support the family. There are many women who had to support 5 or 6 generations of people on her own, like my mother-in-law or my grandmother or one of my grand aunts. She had to help. She was a working person all her life, and they had to support 5 or 6 generations of people on their own because the men got killed off or they went to war or whatever the case may be. So women do have to be the matriarchs, but to be the boss bitch is not what a matriarch really is. That's an obnoxious person just being a tyrant. And if you ever worked in the workplace and had to be around anybody like that, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, and I'm sure it carries right at home. Nobody wants to be around anybody like that. I've had a few of those type of relatives in my family, and believe me, they run away from home. Everybody runs away from home. So, if you want to keep people around, you want to be a reasonably pleasant person, productive and supportive. I don't care whether you have to work to do it, whether you have to stay home and cook and clean to do it. Whatever you do should be a labor of love. It should never be your ego overgrowth to the point where everybody can't live around you. Like, for instance, if you're a housewife and you're so obsessive about keeping a clean house, one little speck of dust gets on the floor and you're ranting and raving at everybody, that's not productive either. I'd like to see a person like that go to work, because nobody wants to be around somebody who's sniffing around you, wiping up the counters every 5 minutes because you dropped something, you're going to get screamed at or whatever. Anything can be obsessive. Okay. So, I think that this independence, quote unquote, thing, it's almost a misnomer because it's not what it really is. It's obsessive disorder, personality disorder. It's not really independence. It's obsessive personality disorder, because they're so angry and feel so cheated that they have to feel like that. Well, I don't need you. I can do bad by myself. Well, that used to be a slang expression just for humor. Well, it's not funny anymore. It's just insulting, because what if they told you, I don't need you neither? Okay. There it is.
Man, that was fire, Marvel, bro. Like I told you,
Yeah.
bro. Miss Pat ain't nothing to play with.
Oh yeah, I know, brother. I know, brother. Yeah, I know that.
You
Yeah,
said that the
yeah,
independent thing is actually obsessive personality disorder. And she made a great point right there. That's actually what that shit is, man. Like it's really not being strong and independent. Like that's a misnomer, like the way she described it. I mean, Miss Pat, she's on fire tonight. I mean, Miss Pat is on fire.
Yeah, Miss Pat, yeah, she's spot on. I mean, she's right. She's right about everything she said, brother. And I gotta, it's gonna sound bad, but I gotta say it. You know, a lot of these women that be talking about that boss stuff. I mean, you got women that's in homeless shelters, that's all different shelters and living with their mama, talking about they get on Facebook or whatever. I'm a boss chick. I'm bossing y'all up. I'm bossing these people up. I'm bossing these women up. I'm big, I'm doing big things, and I'm next thing you know, you find out this woman live with her mom. I mean, so it's bad in so many ways. I mean, it's you go with that way of thinking. I mean, a lot of these women be having children, and then they just disregard those children because they are just so concerned about some boss stuff and looking like a boss chick, and I'm just bossing everybody up, and I'm doing big things, and a lot of times that's just not the case. I mean, you can't look on TV and you see women doing different things and just assume that's you. Oh, well, I mean, it's good to have dreams and everything like that, but you have to be realistic also. If you know that you're like you're a bartender at some club or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you should be running around talking about boss chicks and I'm a big boss. Or now if you are on a management team with a club, then you can okay, that's different. But if you're like just serving drinks and you're the little waitress with the little skirt on, you talking about boss moves and I'm a boss chick and I just I got it going on. I mean, you might want to think twice before you say that. I mean, you're just gonna look crazy. And that's what I see a lot of. I mean, a lot of these women, they're not the boss of anything, but they'll put that stuff for everybody to see, or they'll portray themselves as a certain way. But these women, I mean, it's just if you try to do things by yourself and you're a woman, and even in some cases these days, if you're a man, you're gonna struggle. These women are struggling. I mean, a lot of these women have children. They think that they brainwash their own selves into thinking that they can do all this stuff on their own, and it's not working out very well. And you'll see the same woman hollering boss chick. Next thing you know, she's the next day she posts something that she says she got to go to therapy because she's so depressed. So I know maybe this is the so-called misogyny coming out of me, but I always looked at it as women are usually more happy when they're at home, when they're with their children, and when they can work a part-time job and do whatever and just volunteer with doing stuff like that. I assume those women are much more happy knowing that they have a husband to pretty much hold everything together. I mean, they contribute what they bring to the table, but the men are going out and being good men. That man is going out and he's doing what he has to do. I feel like those women are happy. I feel like the women that holler all that stuff, they're deflecting from the fact that they are down, they are depressed, they are hurt, they are sad. They probably go back to their mama house and drink a whole bottle of wine, but they was out in the world telling everybody they a boss chick. So it doesn't work. That stuff don't work. I mean, it's not working. I mean, you see, and the more things like that keep happening, the more you're going to see the future generations of children grow up and just be dysfunctional, just running all over the place and just doing all kinds of just out of control type stuff. And you're going to see more of that because a woman, and like I said, I know I'm looked at as a misogynist, but the woman is better when she's at home with her children. I mean, going to work, a regular job, a part-time job, then coming home to nurture her children. And I just feel like that's the best way to go. Now we're in a new society, and everything is, with the economy being the way that it is. I mean, you pretty much have to have two incomes coming in in order to live a decent life. So that's understandable. But I just always just felt like a woman sets herself up for success when she has that family dynamic. She has a husband, she has the children. She can go and do her career thing and go to school and get her, degree and be educated. But she's, she's a down to earth type of woman. She's not, in the clouds, just floating in the clouds, just talking crazy and just, just living in a different, alternate reality. She knows what real life is. And it's like right now, it's like the women are just getting away from what reality is. And some of the men are doing the same thing, but I see it mainly, especially on here on YouTube, with the women. I mean, just some of the crazy things they say, and and then later on, you find out that they didn't even believe any of the stuff they said. And it's just not a real good time. That the women need to stop hollering that boss stuff. It's not working out for them real good. I mean, the more they holler that junk, the worse that they end up. They end up struggling even more. When the overall when everything is said and done. I mean, so it's just best to just be humble, try to use common sense, and just understand that you really want to be a so-called boss chick. You get a husband and you get a family, and then those women like Miss Pat could say that if she want all day long. I don't think she doesn't really strike me as that type of woman that would talk like that, but she could say that. I mean, just because you by yourself and you, like Miss Pat was saying earlier, you're able to sustain yourself and just take care. That ain't no boss. I mean, come on. Like, you think I'm a boss man because I, take care of my family, take care of myself, and take care of my stepdaughter and all my kids. Like, that just mean I'm a regular man. That don't mean I'm no boss man. I'm just a regular man that just do what he's supposed to do. I mean, I wish we had more men that did that same thing. And like we talked about before, brother, they follow them behind the bum niggas and lift them dudes. These dudes can't take care. They can't even take care of themselves, but they uplift these dudes instead of looking at the real, true, down to the core men like me and you. More of that needs to happen. More of that needs to happen. And I don't agree with women, saying stuff like that. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I just miss the old days where women, they actually were. That's why I laugh when these women be saying they nurturing and they nurture their children. Come on, these women are not nurturing these kids. These kids are more out of control than they have ever been. And a lot of that, and you know what? Maybe things would be different if the women actually were nurturing, but they're not. You can't be on it. You can't be on here all day long, but then you're just this nurturing mother that's just very caring and understanding and loving. No. And that's what I've always tried to get that message out, brother. I mean, it's it don't mix up with the single mother stuff. Ain't working out for these women. This boss stuff is not working out for the women well at all. And I just hope they can realize that before it's too late.
Yeah, brother. Like I would say this is that, generally from the Black manosphere perspective, the type of boss bitch type of rhetoric is too masculine. It's showing women trying to be more like men, and that's not really their place. Like, it's an unnatural place for women to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, brother. We don't want women that are acting masculine like that. You know what I mean? But like I will say this is that I do agree with Miss Pat, saying that, hey, listen, it's okay to be self-sufficient for a woman to protect herself, to be self-sufficient out here. The economy has gotten itself to a point where, just like you said, also, Marvel, is that there has to be two incomes in the majority of situations. But I will say this is that this overgrowth of the ego, is very problematic. And like, I really appreciate her, mentioning that, like, it's a really great saying, because I mean, if you find the right man, the right relationship, she has to be able to take that step back to say, okay, listen, what about the family now? It's not just about me anymore. See, when you get married, y'all are in this together. It's not just okay, I need to be self-sufficient. No, we are together now. So if you don't do, I will do. And if I'm lacking here, then I'm hoping that you will do. Like, we have to support each other and have the ability to do so. So yes, an education is needed, because if there ever becomes a situation, say, guy and a girl get together or a lady get together, and You know, he falls on hard times if she's not educated and can't go out there and qualify for a job to pay, you know, the house's expenses, then they're screwed, bro. Like, so yeah, it's important to have a level of self, you know, sufficiency for women. They should protect themselves, but I think that just like with everything else, there's a balance there. Once you find your husband, you know, y'all are supposed to be in this together and are supposed to make sacrifices and do things for each other for the good of the family, the child, for, you know what I'm saying? You know, all of y'all together. Y'all have to work together. But unfortunately, what we've seen, particularly here in the Black manosphere, is women like Ebony K. Williams who like to say that, you know, these women have had to act in their masculinity, that they've had to be this way, and they've gotten used to being this way, you know, and now they're having a problem finding a partner. Well, it's because they've lost the ability to be able to cooperate with men, to be able to deal with men, you know, high value men at that. Men that say, okay, well, listen, I don't need your degree. I don't need your money. I make X amount of money every year for the last, you know, so many years. What are you bringing to the table for me, you know, to help me, you know, to help our family? If I was to get with you to create a family, what are you going to bring to the table? You know, are you going to be there for our children? You know, are you going to raise our children? Or, you know, what are you willing to do? But we've found that these certain particular types of women don't want to give at all. Like, they want to continue doing their careers and focusing on their jobs and their careers, hiding behind femininity, saying, oh, I've got the right, you know, I'm a woman, you know, I got the right to take care of myself, you know, I should be able to do all of these things. But listen, you're talking about trying to get into a relationship or marriage. Those dynamics change a little bit then. That's when things get really interested, and that's when they falter. That's when they wind up being bitter and alone, because these men don't want to deal with a woman like that. You know, if I'm making plenty of money and, you know, I'm looking for a family and I want, you know, to spend time with y'all, you know, during the holidays and have, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up, to have a Thanksgiving meal cooked, you know, children there, you know, everybody, you know, having that classic, you know, family gathering, and you're busy working, you know, when I'm sitting there like, why? You know, just because you want to do this? Oh, this is something she wants to do. But it's not necessary for the family, you know, it's not good for the family, you know, during that time and at that time, because it's like, listen, it should be a situation where everybody is together, you know, everybody's having a great time, you know, together, and everybody's bonding. You're there for the children see you, you know. But in many cases, brother, like, we see a lot of women not there for their children. They're letting other people raise their children out here, and it's backfiring out here. It really is.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
It's sad, brother. It is horrible, brother. I mean, it's getting to the point where the so-called boss chicks are letting iPads and tablets and phones and TVs raise their children for them. And that's not good. And it's just, these will be the first type of women. These will be the first women to be surprised when their child is just losing their mind in school and and then the child ends up growing up to adulthood, and then they don't know how to conduct themselves, and they act so shocked. I'm like, you can't be shocked when you know you haven't been that dependable quality mother that you're gonna need to be to these children. They need their mother. We already know that they need their father. I mean, these wenches get online and they remind us about that all day long. I mean, we know that. And my thing is, I am that father. I am the father. I understand how important it is to be a good father, and we've seen in the statistics that a lot of black men understand how important fatherhood is. It's just we just not in that time where black women and a lot of other women of other races too. They just don't understand what being a mother is all about. They don't think it's a big deal. They think you could just halfway do it and you're gonna get these fantastic results, and that's not how it goes. You have to put your all into it. And even if the child is to come out the best after you put your all into it, you can say, I put my all into it. Now you have women, they'll lie and say they put their all into it when they were probably one of the women that was on here all day long, every day. You know, you can't, that's not how life goes. You know, and the thing about it, I mean, fathers, when a father isn't the best father, it's not a good thing. And, you know, children will hold on to that for a very long time. But I'm telling you right now, if you're a bad mother, those children will never they will hold on to that for the rest of their lives. And I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, they will never forget or forgive you if you were a piece of shit mother and you didn't give a damn about them. They will never let that die down. And see what's messed up, you'll have these simp dudes, they'll like dog those guys out, say, oh, you need to let that go. You know, your mama didn't hug you enough. Like nigga, that's really not nothing to play with. If people had piece of shit mamas, you really shouldn't be teasing them saying they need to let that shit go. Now, if they choose to let it go, that's on them. But I've known guys from when I was my time in the military, them guys didn't have good mothers at all. And they'll openly let me know about it. And, you know, it would get to a point to where I would just, you know, try to talk to them and try to, you know, help them understand, hey, you know, maybe it wasn't your mama's fault. And, but it's like the older I get, the more I realize, you know, it's just a lot of these women, they take that route. They go down that road. You know, they go down the road of just you know, being a halfway decent mother or just being a sorry mother. And then they you know, they want everything when those kids grow up if they end up being successful. And that's the time that we living in. It's like, it's not, you know, I wish we could get back to the times where you had women like Miss Pat and just various women that cared about, you know, the family dynamic and cared about being a great mother. I mean, just the boss chick stuff don't mix with being a good mother. That stuff don't mix. I mean, if you're really trying to be some boss chick, be a boss chick in your house. Be a boss chick when it comes to being a mother to your kids. Stop worrying about all this stupid junk. You know, being seen on Instagram and Facebook and doing Facebook lives, and you taking a trip somewhere, and you think that's some kind of boss. Why don't you take a trip with your husband and your children?
That's
you know,
right.
like that stuff supposed to matter. You know, like, and like I said, even though I'm not married, all that stuff mattered to me. Like I said, I'm not even gonna get into everything that I did as a father and as a fiance to my daughter's mom. I'm not gonna. I basically looked at the script that my father put before me, and I applied it to my family. My dad always made sure to take us to amusement parks, and we would go on family vacations. We did all that stuff when I was growing up as a child. My dad, you know, my mother, of course, she was with us. We always did family outings, like all the time. And I applied that to, you know, with my daughter's mother and my children. But see, that's the thing these stupid ass women don't want to tell you. They're not going to tell you the other side of the game. That's why me and you are here, DD. It's like, I did all that stuff for my daughter's mother. Her daughter is not my daughter. And of course, I did it for my daughter and my son. You know, I always made them feel like, hey, you know what? Daddy going to take us somewhere. You know, we're going to go somewhere new for summer vacation, or we're going to do this for spring break or whatever. Like, you think right now, like, these women give a shit about that? The men have to be the stronger individuals, and we have to care about like the kids and you know, what's good for them and what's going to influence them and you know, them having happy times and good times and making good memories. We have to care about that, and the reason how I know, because I was the one that cared about that, and I still care about that now. You know, I'm not saying my daughter's mother didn't care about it, but at the same time, she wasn't gung ho about it like I was. because that's what I had. That's the privilege that I had as a child. And my father always made those things happen along with my mother. I carried all of my family values and family dynamics and the way I did things and the way I see my father doing things. I carried that over to when I was raising my family. And you got these bitch niggas, they'll just say, well, he just do what he's supposed to. You know what? I would tell them punk niggas, there's a lot of niggas that's not doing what the fuck they supposed to. Go tell them bitch niggas, they need to do that shit. They need to get like me. They need to care about their kids. They need to care about, they woman or their girlfriend or wife or whatever. They need to do like I did. They need to do like my father did. These dudes ain't doing shit. Like I said, these bum ass simp niggas that be on this shit all day long, they don't give a damn about that stuff. They too busy. They too busy telling like real true men like me and you, DDS, what we need to do. These simp bitch made niggas that don't have a pot to piss in. I know I'm going on a rant, brother. I apologize if I'm messing up the quality of the stream, brother. But
no, man, go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. You doing good. Go ahead.
But I'm sick of that, brother. I mean, I'm sick of the women that talk stupid, that following behind bum niggas that ain't never did shit with their life, and then try to apply that to men like me and you. I'm gonna always have a deep disdain for that, and like it's only natural for me to be that way because I'm the one that do all this stuff. And like my thing is that actually should when I don't understand why that whenever I start talking like this, if that really, you know what, that actually rubs women more the wrong way than when I said the comment that I made a while back. When I start talking about how men need to be more responsible like me and my friends and my brothers and people that I know, for some reason that makes these women on here get upset. I really don't understand what that's about. I can understand the women being upset with me over the insensitive comments that I made on your channel, brother. And like I said, I've apologized for that. And I understand women being upset about that. But what I don't understand is you should not get upset about me saying that I'm the man that these bum ass niggas that you following them behind, like that they should be. What are you getting? What is a woman getting upset about? I could understand a bitch nigga crying or some shit and say, "Oh, yeah, I'm mad because he said that he a real nigga and I'm a bitch nigga." What? Why is that making women mad? A lot of these dudes they bitch niggas. They too much of a bitch to take care of their own children. They don't want to take care of their children. They damn sure ain't gonna take care of no woman. Like, it's crazy. I'm looked at as the misogynist, but thing is, I'll take care of a woman before a simp nigga that's not looked at in that way. That simp nigga will throw your ass away. See, my thing is, I talk shit, but I'm actually a very gentle soul type of man. I care about the woman just like I care about the woman and the children equally. As much as people hear me and they hear my tone and they think I'm harsh, I'm actually a gentle soul, and it's actually why my daughter's mother and my girlfriend said, I think you need to stop engaging with them people because them people really don't know you. I mean, they don't know. You are like the realest dude. You take care of everybody. You take care of everybody so much that you didn't damn near put yourself in the grave and behind what you do for everybody. And I'm like, well, they don't need to know all that. And plus all they're gonna do is just say I'm lying anyway. So there's no point in getting too deep into everything. But I would just tell the heat that a lot of these women have for me and you, DDS, mainly me, not really you, because they like you. But the heat they have for me, go bring that heat to the bum niggas and they bums. You got dudes that don't have kids at all. They ain't never had no woman at all. They can't even take care of themselves. Niggas can't even buy a 99-cent stick of deodorant because they so fucking broke. So that's what I'm saying, brother. That's the real deal. All I've ever talked about on your show, majority of the time, is just family and family being together. That's what matters to me the most because I was fortunate enough to have that in my life growing up as a child. I had the best childhood experience that anybody could ever ask for. My father was a stand-up man. Like I said, that man don't play no games. You ain't about to get over on him, but he is a great man. And he's all about being a man. It's all about manhood when it came to my father. That was a big thing with him, and it still is right now. And, sometimes, like I was talking to him earlier today, and he was just like, man, I know I don't tell you, he said, I know I don't tell you enough, man, but I'm real proud of the man that you've became. I'm real proud of the man that you've become. And, I thought that was real cool because, like I said, I looked up to my dad my whole life. He's just a great man. He's no nonsense. Like a lot of the stuff that you see in me, DDS, a lot of stuff these people see on here, and they of course they quick to judge me, but I got that no sense, that no nonsense type of way of doing things from my father. He just don't play no games. He's straight to the point. But the thing about it is, he's a great man at the same time. He was a great father. You can't be some weak bitch made dude and think that's gonna make you be this great father, especially if you're raising boys. Like my father had to raise 3 boys into men with the help of my mother. And that's what people have to understand. Like I said, these boys, they don't have their mother is too busy trying to be boss chick. They don't have their daddy really around in their life. These boys are gonna like wreak havoc if people don't start doing what they're supposed to. I mean, the girls are gonna do their thing. I mean, but these boys are gonna tear some stuff up if people don't get this stuff under control. Like this boss chick is just setting these women up for failure. This boss chick way of thinking about stuff is setting the women up for failure. They're not gonna just magically just end up being like these highly successful type of people. Because I mean, it's just not set up in the Black community for us to be like that. Like I said, a woman could go take a trip to I don't know, Vegas. She go to Vegas. She go to Vegas one time and spend maybe 2 days there. Next thing you know, she's a boss chick. And just stuff like that. She probably went broke trying to go to Vegas, going to Vegas. But she's in a high amount of, she has a high amount of debt, but she's talking about she's a boss chick. So this is just, that is designed for entertainers and for people like that. That ain't designed for regular average people. So when I see these average women saying this stuff, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, work. Oh, go ahead, brother.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask Miss Pat. Now, you know what? I was listening to everything Marvel said, and Marvel had some great, outstanding points. Like, I just want to get your perspective. What do you think about what he said? I mean, is anything that he said misogynist? Is anything that he said, a problem, on your side? You know what I mean? Like, do you think that what he said is problematic? Because what I'm listening to, everything sounds good to me. Like, to me, I understand it. I can identify with it. It makes sense to me. You know what I mean? So, like, I just want to see what you think, Miss Pat.
Well, it makes sense to me because he's a strong. Now, you want to say strong and independent. That's the way men should be: strong, independent, protective. That's what I'm feeling when I hear Marvel talk. He's that strong man who will protect his family. Now, I have a confession to make. When I was raising my family, I did have to work. I was in the workforce most of my life. And I worked with other women in the workforce, and they had young children. And it broke my heart to see their heartstrings being torn when they had to drop their babies off to a daycare and they were crying on their way to work. It just tore me up. Now with my children, I had family help me, my children. So it wasn't as terrible for me because my mother-in-law was there and she was like my grandmother in the sense that I felt close enough to her. I could trust her with my children. And she had raised 5 generations of children. So it was like, it was all an extended family. Okay. And so I was accustomed to the extended family help because it happened in my family quite a bit. The women did have to go out and work and leave their kids with mommy or auntie or somebody, but it was always a family member. It was never daycare. Okay. However, when I went to work, and I worked in a field that required a lot, so I couldn't just come home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to pick the kids up and all that. I had to pay after school pay, or if somebody in the family couldn't pick them up, my husband couldn't pick them up. Oh my goodness, it was something. But at any rate, I was torn with that whole career thing. I didn't want the career no more because I'm like, I want my kids first. And that's when my horns started to come out at work. Is when it was behind my kids. You know what I mean? I said, listen, I'm leaving and get my kids and too bad for you. Fire me if you want to, but I'm leaving to get my kids. And there was a few situations where I had to tell them, listen, I'm not competing with you. You don't compete with my family. You're the only, my family is the reason for you. You see what I'm saying? So that's what women deal with when they're dealing with careers. Believe me, don't let the green grass fool you or the boss bee, whatever, fool you. She is internally burning like an inferno, trying to fight that maternal instinct. Because the first thing a woman will do is jump out in front of the street to push a car away from a child that's being run over. That's that same instinct she has towards that mean boss that tries to make her work overtime. So,
yes, ma'am.
I'm just saying, this is not wrong for y'all to express this as well, because you are protectors. It's like in the elephant family. The males stand around in a circle with their tusks out, while the females and the little babies are inside. You are the male elephants with your tusks out. Dare the world to come at you. That's what I see with you gentlemen. And we need more of this. Now, when you break down the strength of the man, demoralize him and everything else, that will kill the ability for the man to play his role, just like a woman's role will be defeated if she's expected to work all the time. But then again, sometimes we have no choice. You do what you got to do. Now, if I could get away with it, I would have gotten away from that job, collected any kind of money I could have got or whatever, or just let my husband support the whole family. But you have to understand this as well. That puts a lot of pressure on men to support a whole family by themselves. In fact, the lifespan of men that are doing this are probably half of the lifespan of a woman. Why do you think women get to be 80 years old and the guy dies by the time he's 50? You know why? Because he's expected to support all of that. And it's too much.
Well,
so I'm glad it's better for the lifespan and human pressure for that to be a shared responsibility. Especially really not capable of taking care of everything financially. And you never know when the economy, when that job isn't giving you any loyalty. You can be there 30 or 40 years. They're not even going to give you a gold watch anymore. They'll kick you out like a piece of dirty toilet tissue and not even think twice about it. So always family first,
Right.
They definitely do that because they value women even less than they value men. Definitely.
Well,
that's still.
Like I was just going to say this part. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was a lot of facts right there. I would just say this.
It was.
Is that, I mean, Marvel, what Miss Pat just told you, brother, is that, I mean, she supports what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, there's no problem.
Oh, yeah, I know that, brother.
You know what I mean?
Miss Pat is the truth. I mean, the way I look at it is, as long as Miss Pat been coming on here, and Ms. Zanetta G and all the other great women that you've had on your platform, they've listened to me say how I feel about just various different things, and I appreciate those ladies because those, like I told you before, brother, Miss Pat and Zanetta G remind me of how how times once were in the good old days, in my opinion, like where a woman you could. And what's crazy is Miss Pat and Zanetta G probably had to deal with some real stuff in their time. It's just so messed up because the women right now, they don't deal with anything. I mean, these women have it made. They got everything right at their feet. I mean, everything is just tailor made for a lot of these women. But it's like, but it's just crazy. Miss Pat, it actually would make more sense if Miss Pat heard me saying certain things. She'd be like, Marvin, I really don't like, but it's just crazy. She's not like that. And she actually probably went through some real stuff through her life. Same thing with Miss Zanetta G. But like the women that's like, my age and younger, these women ain't go through anything. I mean, if they experienced a personal trauma or just a personal, just something personal in their life that was a tragedy or that was tragic or that was, that brought them down and just hurt them to their core, then my sympathy goes out to those women. But I know that's not the case because, I mean, a lot of those women, they tend to just stay I ain't gonna say bottled up, but they tend to be really reserved, and they don't really just jump out and just start, doing a bunch of angry ranting. I mean, a lot of those women that's been through real stuff, they actually tend to be quiet, and you would actually have to talk to them one-on-one. They're not just real angry all the time, and everything that I say as a man just sets them off. That a lot of the times, those women, they probably been through stuff, but those real angry women, a lot of stuff they did, that's junk to themselves. They put themselves in bad situations to make them angry. Women that have been emotionally traumatized tend to be very, just docile and quiet, and they don't really speak on stuff that much. And they tend to just you would have to get them in a one-on-one type of situation to be able to actually talk to them and understand. So that's how I know the difference between the women that's been through real stuff and the women that just doing a bunch of screaming and just talking crazy. And Miss Pat, she's a hell of a woman, and so is Miss Zanetta G. Those are great women, but it's just messed up because, I mean, they're going away. They're starting to go away. Or what's even worse, you take a woman like Miss Pat and you take some, and I'm not trying to dog her. I know she's going through her trials and tribulations with losing her channel, but you take a woman like Cynthia G, and then next thing you know, Cynthia G then flip Miss Pat. And next thing you know, Miss Pat is just going off. And she just saying, yeah, you black dusty male, you black beta male dusty, y'all don't do shit. And y'all ain't good for nothing. And then you like, dang, man. Miss Pat used to never say no stuff like that. Now she calling us dusty, So, I mean, that stuff, it matters. It matters. When a woman is a strong woman and she stands on what she believes and she cares about the world and cares about what's going on in the world today, those things mean a lot, especially to a man like me. Because like I said, I grew up in the good old days. When I was a kid, I mean, it's just so many things that just ain't the same no more. Like, if a woman was real mad and she was complaining, I mean, that means it was really some real stuff. And that's the difference right now. Like, you really can't tell what women, you can't tell who lying and who telling the truth and who's really been through stuff and who just heard somebody else's experience and want to, proclaim it as theirs. I mean, you don't know what is going on. And like I've said before, brother, I don't mean to sound insensitive when I talk the way I talk, but I just have to say what I see. I mean, these things are live in person. And a lot of the women are just real angry. A lot of stuff, they just did it to themselves. They did it to themselves. You got with a bum ass nigga. He probably was a bum the whole time when you first met him, but you didn't give a shit. And now you mad at me because you with a bum ass nigga. Get mad at the bum ass nigga. The fuck you getting mad at me for? And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I said, I don't play that bum nigga shit. I ain't never been with that shit. Like I clown a bum nigga all day long. I told that nigga to his damn face. Everybody know I don't give a shit. So for all the women that just say that, like Marvin, he just focused on women. Like I told you before, brother. In my real life, women respect me. They show me respect. They know that I don't play those games, and I'm all about respect. Like it's just on here. And I gotta blame myself for a little bit of it because I mean these women, they are like just random women a lot of the time. I don't be having no association with these women. I mean unless they try to lie on me and say, "Oh, he was flying to come see me and he bought me," like I ain't not no. Like I said, I'll do stuff like that for my daughter's mother, and I'll do stuff like that for my girlfriend. I'm not doing stuff like that for nobody else. I'm not paying for no plane ticket, none of that shit. Can't no woman pin that shit on me. Hell no, man. Hell no.
I heard that.
We in a space right now, brother, where everything is just, if you own some weak shit, like that's the shit. That's the good shit, nigga. You weak, that's cool. Like I grew up where, nigga, if you weak, that's not cool.
That ain't cool.
If you're a weak ass nigga, that's never gonna be cool. But see, right now, in this shit, in the midst of all this stuff going on right now on here, The weak shit is like, that's real shit. That's a real
Yeah.
man. He a good man. You know, like, man, come on. Like, you got to be able to stand on what you believe. And I really appreciate Miss Pat, because she's the type of woman, she can always say, you know what? If I want to talk to somebody like Marvel, somebody like DDS, they're gonna give me their authentic self, and they're gonna show me, like, you know, they're gonna tell me what they believe, and they're gonna tell me how they feel about different things. Now, and I know that I can say what I say, and if I say something just too over the top, Miss Patty say, Marvel, I don't think you should have said that. Ms. Zanetta G would be like, Marvel, why'd you say that? That was a little bit too much. But see, that's how I know. Like, I know in the back of my mind that, you know, the things I say can't be like real bad, because I know those ladies will let me know.
Right.
Now,
Right.
like, was I a bit insensitive? Yes. But was I saying it from a horrible place? No. Because I don't say anything from a bad place when I get on your show, brother. Everything I talk about is from a masculine perspective.
Right.
It's all about masculinity. That's what it's all about. If you just a weak bitch made nigga, and you like think that you consider yourself to be something like a female, and you behave like a female, and you carry yourself like a female, then yeah, you're gonna just take what I say, and you're gonna be on some weak shit. But if you're a man and you're a true lady, you can take what I say and you can look at the overall picture of what I'm saying, the overall aspect of what I'm saying. You can look at, like, you know, hey, Marvel is all about respect. You respect, you know, a woman is with her man. She respects that man. She don't talk shit about that man behind his back. She don't talk down on him when they're in a public place. That's things like that. I talk about stuff like that. And see, it should not get to the point to where when I say that makes women mad, because I say I don't want no woman of mine cursing in public and losing them. Like, I don't know, like, that's what them bitch made niggas want. They like that shit. Like, I'm not no bitch made nigga. I ain't never gonna be one. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, brother.
I don't tolerate stuff like that. And that's not no bad thing, because I don't tolerate a woman making a fool out of herself, and in the process making a fool out of me. Like, it should, that's when you know the world about to come to an end. If you got bitch made niggas and you got women saying, well, that's wrong, you shouldn't say, like, that when you know the world about to come to an end. Because, like, it's like, damn, man, y'all just like okay with anything just being said, and just, you know, women and men just doing anything. And my thing is, I grew up in a civilized, you know, environment. You know, like I said, I'm starting to realize that a lot of these people, they grew up in just shit where they're just wild, everything just wild, like the wild west. They grew up in some shit like that. And I ain't grow up in nothing like that. So, I mean, I try, all I talk about is just real life scenario type things, and just stuff that go on in the real world. And I tend to come off a little bit brash sometimes. I mean, you have women like Ms. Zanetta G and Miss Pat, it's like they know where I'm coming from. They know I'm not saying it with any malicious intent. But it's like the women, I don't know if they just lack common sense or if they just brain dead. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they just take everything like literally and take it to and turn it into something that is not, and turn it into and then they just get away from the overall point that I was making. They just pretty much disregard the overall message of what I'm saying, and they focus on one particular thing, and they try to blow that up and make that the whole message. And that's what children do. Children do things like that, not grown-ups, not adults. When you're an adult, you're supposed to be able to comprehend the overall message. Not just focus in on one particular thing and make that the whole conversation of what me and you are discussing or what I'm talking about. I mean, that's what little children do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, brother.
Yeah, Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Great points, man. Like, you know what? This is the thing about this whole thing, man, is that, and like, I want to get Miss Pat's perspective on this, is that, Miss Pat, do you notice that most of the country is actually conservative in nature, right? But what we've noticed is that it's the younger people, specifically a lot of these younger women out here, white women and black women, right, who are more progressive and liberal in nature. And I've noticed that those are the ones who, a lot of them, they have failed in life, and they've failed in their endeavors, and they've failed in relationships. 1, 2, 3, or a combination of the three, right? And many of them want to go back and redo it. They want to go back and fix it. So what we've noticed is that there are a lot of people online that are sympathetic to victimization type of like rhetoric, language, and things of that nature. They want to redo their lives. You know, they're angry. A lot of these people are angry. A lot of people online are actually really angry that, you know, things happen the way they happen in their personal lives, and they want to sort of like start over. They want to kind of redo it, you know, but the conservative way of thought here, and I would say it's the realist way of thought, is that there are no redos in life. You can't redo something. All you can do is just move forward. Like you can't go back to when you were 25 or 20 and redo it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are showing that they're really angry about what happened to them in the past. And what we're noticing here in the Black Manosphere is that there are a lot of women on the gynocracy side who are doing exactly that. They're basically showing their hand. They're showing that they made a lot of mistakes in who they were choosing. And now what they're doing is they're angry about that. They're angry about the choices that they made. So what they want to do is they want to get online and vent, right? So first of all, they want to vent. But then they get into this phase of where they kind of want to redo it. Like they want to like repurpose themselves and pretend to be like they were in the past to try to start over again. Like, Miss Pat, do you notice that type of like thing going on online? You know, because that's what I'm seeing a lot of people trying to like redo life, but you can't redo life. Like once you've, you know, rung that bell, you can't unring that bell. Like that bell has been rung. Like you can't unring it. So if you're still there, Miss Pat, like, you know, I definitely like to hear your perspective on it.
Yes, well, most people, they assess their lives and they say, gosh, I should have done this. I do that myself. For instance, I waited until I got in my late 30s to get married and have a family because I knew that I would not make a good wife. I would not make a good, I would be a wonderful mother. I would be a great mother. But I never wanted to have children without a father there, you know, and being in a marriage. So I knew better than to try to get married at the age of 22 when I was young and fertile and all that good stuff. Or what you would say in a good marketplace.
Right.
Because mentally, I was definitely not there. So I don't regret that. But I do regret some of the decisions that I should have made as far as my education was concerned. I should have went on with my education. I shouldn't have stopped at where I stopped at. So yes, I should have went on ahead, went to a graduate school or got my, you know, since I love animals, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I decided not to do it. You know, and sometimes I feel bad that I didn't do that, you know, but at the same time, I'm glad I'm not a vet because the veterinarians have a high suicide rate. I don't know if you know that or not, but they do. And
Oh,
it's
I didn't know
because
that.
it's so depressing to see all these animals that are sick and you got to actually put them down. Okay, veterinarians have to do a lot of heart-wrenching work. They're not like physicians in the human world where the physician is not going to euthanize a human, but you have to euthanize animals. You see what I'm saying? So I couldn't live
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I
That's a
never,
terrible.
you know, became a vet.
Yeah.
But
I see where you're coming from. I see exactly what you're coming from. That's a terrible, especially like if you really care about those animals like that, and to have to like see that happen like one after another. Yeah.
and they see a lot of animal abuse. They're physicians of animals, so they have to see the animal abuse. They see the road kill. They see all of that. I couldn't do it because I worked in the veterinarian's clinic for a few years, and I kind of, I would talk to those vets like, well, why aren't you helping this dog just because they can't pay for it? Can't we just go ahead and help the dog? I'll pay for it. But they said everybody walks in here and dumps a dog on us that's broken all up. They probably ran over the damn dog themselves. You know what I mean? But they have to be heartless. You know what I'm saying? And I guess men handle that a little bit better than women because I get emotional. The men do too, but they have to kind of hold that protective nature of theirs so you don't see that in them. But you can tell it bothers them. So, in that respect, I reflect on my life and I say, my goodness, I should have done that, but I'm glad I didn't. But there were some other educational goals I wanted to pursue, and I probably will as soon as I can, but more importantly, when I do not regret that I waited to get married, because I was just like all those other young women out there who are a pain in the butt and want to have, and wasn't looking at life realistically, and I wouldn't have been a good wife. So, and the reason why a lot of those young women are obedient wives is through force. They're intimidated. They're financially stuck with that. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't want that to be your choice in life.
Yeah.
Or your family pushed you into it. They wanted to get rid of you. Like I said earlier, these women are sold over to a man, so nobody else has to take care of them but that man. So if she has a kind husband, which we all hope she does, she may luck out and be the most beautiful. It'll be a beautiful story. That's what it's supposed to be. But it's not, especially with all the other things that are going on in the world,
right?
That challenge men. Okay, so that's why yes, you have women here now saying, "Well, gosh, I'm 45 years old. I got a great career, but no husband. I don't have nothing to keep me warm at night." And then they can only do so much partying in their life. That gets old real fast. Okay. All the bright lights and all that doesn't, that's very superficial and it's not real, So yes, we all reflect like that. And I'm just as guilty as the next person is. Sometimes I wish, I had treated my husband better throughout our marriage from time to time, because there are times I couldn't accept his leadership, or there were times he didn't like the way I did things. Like if I couldn't cook a casserole correctly, or if I wanted to make that tofu casserole, he said, hell to the no. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't want to be a vegetarian and a vegan and a health nut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to go ahead to the store and break down and get that the chicken and the beef and steaks and all
no meat, no eat. No meat, no eat.
But yeah, I get it, y'all. I mean, but I'm glad we're reflecting on this, and I just love listening to the men talk about all these things, because when you think about it, the men are the leaders of the society because they come up with these ideas. It's like they're the thinkers because they just operate that way. As a matter of fact, that's why the greatest leaders in our communities were men. Actually, we had women leaders too that did great. I mean, I'm not taking anything from them. But Malcolm X could not have been a woman. A woman couldn't have done what Malcolm X did. A woman couldn't have done what Martin Luther King did.
I agree. I agree.
A woman could not have done what Bill Cosby did, because the men have that stability that we don't. That's all, you know? So
Yeah. And
Yes, ma'am.
I don't regret anything
Mhm.
that we need to teach our young people work ethic and integrity. That's what we need to teach them.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I totally agree, Miss
yeah.
Patty. You know what? I just want to tell you, Miss Pat, and tell Marvin, man, like I really appreciate y'all being here, man. Like, I don't know if y'all know how much it means to me that, that I got, y'all to talk to. You know what I mean? So thank y'all so much, man, for giving me all y'all, all of the knowledge, all of the insight, and telling the audience,
Yeah, brother.
all of y'all knowledge and things of that nature, man. It's really a great thing. And I really appreciate you, Miss Pat, for saying what you just said, because you know what, I just mentioned that not too long ago, that a lot of the great thinkers, the philosophers, in human history have been men. Like a lot of the political thought, a lot of philosophy was done by men, founded by men. Like I haven't heard, I'm pretty sure there may be some, but I haven't really heard of any philosophers to the level of Socrates. So people like that, like it's just shows that men tend to like think about things and come up with a lot of the thought and the arguments and things of that nature, but that doesn't take away from women. Like I want to make sure that people understand this part, is that just because it's coming from a Black manosphere area doesn't necessarily mean that what I'm saying is that women are incapable of doing these types of things. No, what I'm saying is that we've seen from human history that men have done some great things out here, despite what the gynocracy likes to put out. Because, the gynocracy has said specifically about Black men, and these Black women have been, harping on this idea that Black men ain't ish. And like, it's just something that I just fundamentally disagree with. Now, listen, like, there's a lot of things Black men need to deal with. And like, I kind of wanted to get into a little bit of that, but I mean, it's fine if y'all not ready for it, tonight. But I wanted to talk about, like, Black men need to be focusing on consistency, focusing on dependability, focusing on stability. And failure is not an option. Brothers, failure out here is not an option. If you
brother.
don't know, then that's your fault. In this day and age, with all of the information that's available to everyone on the internet, failing is really not an option out here. You can't just sit back and say, well, it didn't work out and I don't know why and things of that nature. Like, you have to like succeed out here at something. What are you good at doing? Like, look inside of yourself and say, what am I good at? What am I good at? Because I know a lot of young men out here don't really, know what direction that they want to go in, but look into yourself and say, what are you good at doing? What do you have a passion for? And then go for it. The Black manosphere is telling you to go for what your passion is. Like, just go all in, because failure is not an option. We
That's
want
right,
black
brother.
men to be, yeah, brother. We want black men to be consistent, to be dependable, and to provide that stability that I know women are looking for. But it's not just because women are looking for it, it's because that is what your job is as a man. You're supposed to be stable, like a rock, like rock solid out here, you
That's
know.
right.
So don't worry about what the women are talking about out here and things of that nature. Just, I want the younger brothers just to focus on those three core aspects, but also look into the style. How are you dressing out here? How are you dressing for success? How are you operating? How are you presenting yourself to the world? What kind of skills do you have as far as, you know, being able to defend yourself and defend your family? Like, what kind, are you good with firearms? Like, what are you good with as far as defense? Are you physically fit? Try to be more physically fit, right? That's going to help you in being able to at least tertiarily being able to, to present that appearance that don't mess with me, but, because I can give you a good fight, things of that nature.
Yes.
Try to keep yourself as a man, physically fit. And it's also going to extend your life, and
That's
it's going
right.
to help you mentally. Like that
We all, yeah,
physical,
we already
yeah,
don't live long.
all of
We
that.
already don't live long as it is. Yeah, right.
Exactly. And study, try to be a well-learned man, try to read a book. Make it your goal to try to read a book, one book every month, try to do that. Even if you only read a couple of chapters that month, that's fine. Just make an effort. It takes an effort, and understand that reading is fundamental, just like they said. Now, that's one thing that I can say that is true. Reading is fundamental. It's very important that Black men from an early age read. Please learn how to read. Please get better at your vocabulary, because it's going to help you articulate your ideas and concepts to other people. It doesn't even have to be women. It can be to an employer, to anybody that you are trying to get something out of. You have to be able to articulate your points, and reading helps with that. It's very important. Be a studied man, at anything. If you are studying a craft, read up on that craft, learn everything that you can about that craft to be the best that you can be at it, So these are just the things that I want to tell Black men, because there are things that Black men need to do. It's not all about the women. Yeah, me and Marvel talk about the women a lot, but it's a lot of improvement that's also needed from Black men, that Black men need encouragement on, upliftment on, and that's what I try to focus here on, to try to uplift Black men, trying to help them. Now, I've been talking about uplifting Black men in the sense of trying to avoid certain types of women and certain types of scenarios with women. And me and Marvel have definitely talked about that, but I also want to get into how to uplift you as far as personally in your life, how to improve your life. So be well learned, be well read, go out here and learn how to dress. Marvel, I'm thinking about making a stream, brother, just dedicated simply to the style piece, about how to measure, or, what I'm saying, or yourself for a suit or a blazer, something where men don't have to go to a tailor and have to have it done, but it's going to help men be able to go out here and present themselves to this world. Go out here and get your hair cut. You know what I'm saying? Be clean cut, shave, clean cut, go out here and present yourself, you know, as an upstanding black man, because a lot of the images that we see, brother, are negative images of black men. And it's something that I want, you know, that I'm trying to fix. You know, I even tried to do it on my own channel. I tried to put, you know, an image of a black man out here, you know, with a suit on, trying to be presentable. And that's why we do this, man, is to try to help the brothers, try to send a signal to the brothers, hey, listen, you're going to be taken more seriously if you're professional looking. It just is what it is. Some of these women and some of these Pookie and Ray Rays out here could say anything that they want to say. But the truth of the matter is, if you have got a suit on, if you are presentable, professional looking, khakis, you know, or something very presentative, you know, you are going to be taken more seriously. You know, the things that you say are going to be taken more seriously. You know, things are just going to, you know, be better for you generally across the board. And that's what we've been saying here in the Black Manosphere. We got to clean the images up of black men, because the images right now are like thug images. The images of, you know, are like low class images. Now, listen, that's not saying, yeah, brother, that's not saying that black men generally are thugs or low class people, you know, or, you know, that doesn't mean that black men who wear, you know, certain types of attire are thugs or low class people. But the problem is that as far as presenting yourself to the world, to this corporate world, to the dominant society out here, because we got to admit, we're not the dominant society. You know, I think over 70% of this country are white people. We just don't see them because we don't see them, brother, because we don't live, you know, in most of the country. We live generally around our own people. But really, the facts are, and the data shows that the dominant society are white people. So if you're trying to get a corporate job, or you're trying to go out here and uplift yourself as a black man or uplift other black men, you have to strive to be, you know, what you say is needed to be successful. So that's why I got the suit on, brother. So I know a lot of people try to clown the shit, but this is the deal. They're not the ones that are controlling the narratives out here. They're not the ones in control of society. You know, we got to try to present ourselves better out here as black men. And that's just what I wanted to put out here. But see, brother, they like to say that people in the Black Manosphere, all we talk about is black women and relationships. But I've talked about this, you know, on quite a few occasions about, you know, how you present yourself as a man, you know, how to talk, you know, certain type of verbiage to use and things of that nature. Try to get your vocabulary up, you know. Don't just talk about, don't talk ghetto all the time. You know what I mean? Try to read more, learn more words, and be able to conversate with people in such a way that they say, oh, this is an intelligent person right here. This is an intelligent black man right here. I was expecting different. I was expecting a man to talk slang and to talk country and to talk all of these types of, you know, things of that nature. But this man is saying, very high level words and things of that nature. But yeah, brother, you know, so those are the things that I think that maybe we should focus on a little bit more, brother, because a lot of the, negative types of, I'd call it negative types of content. Yeah, I know they get a lot of views and things of that nature, but if we really want to try to help Black men, let's try to tell them the simple things, how to dress,
brother.
words to say, how to carry yourself, how to hold a respectful conversation. Listen, if you don't agree with something as a Black man, you don't have to curse somebody out. You don't have to just leave. What you can do is say, oh, that's a very interesting perspective. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. And try to carry on the conversation. Don't get too emotionally involved in it to the point where you're in your feelings. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's very important. But go ahead, Marvel. I wanted to see what you thought about that.
Oh, brother, that was good. You know what? I think that would be great if you was to present some content like that. Just helping brothers improve their image. It could be little things like, hey, brother, put some deodorant on before you leave the house, or if you're about to go out with your lady, or just even by yourself, spray some cologne on. Make sure you properly shave. You shaved yourself. You got a clean shave, and you're looking good. You're doing what you got to do, and make sure you tell maybe brothers could improve their eating and drinking habits. Drink more water. Try to eat healthy. Stay in shape, work out. Just do what you got to do to improve the overall image, your overall image, and even the overall image of Black men in general. And I think that will go a long way. I mean, that would be great because there's a lot of brothers that they need to learn. I mean, they probably weren't fortunate enough to get taught that by their father, or maybe their father wasn't around, or whatever the case may be. So they could have a brother like you that could show them the way, and you could actually set them up to be in a good position. And later on down the line.
Brother. Like, what I'm saying? Like, if I have you and I have Miss Pat and Miss Zarnetta G behind me, like, I think it'd be a good thing. It'd be a very positive message to send out there. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is trying to uplift Black men out here. You know what I'm saying? And just give some good advice, to the brothers, but brother, of course, we are definitely going to get into our ish, all of the time about these women. But
yeah, brother. But you know what, brother? We really, I think we keep it balanced at your channel, brother. We do a good job of we say different things about the women, but we talk about so many other things, just a variety of topics. And that's just that simple-minded mentality. When you just, like, if a woman has been listening to us for a good amount of time, and she goes and looks at old streams, and then she still comes and says, DDS and Marvel, all y'all talk about is women. I mean, I hate to say it, man. I'm really not trying to sound bad. That's just a bimbo. That's just a brain dead bimbo that don't know what the hell she's talking about. Because we've touched on a variety of topics over time. And we've talked about just so many different things, whether it be self-improvement, like you were just talking about earlier, or it just be the family dynamic. And like I've told you before, brother, I actually talk about the family stuff much more than I talk about the women.
Exactly. I mean, yes, you do. Yes, sir.
I mean, I harp on that stuff because that's the only way things are going to get better in the world. Is if we go back to how things were back in the day and have the family and have people looking out for each other, and even neighbors in the neighborhood. I mean, that doesn't even happen anymore. Like, you used to have neighbors that will look out for you. Look out for your house or your home when you went out of town. And then, you come back in town, they say, hey, everything's all good. Everything was all good. That's gone away. That's gone away. A lot of stuff like that is just gone away. And we got to find a way to try to get some of that back. And that's really, that's the main stuff that me and you talk about on your show, brother.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
yes, sir. Man.
We focus on that stuff. We harp on that stuff. And the women are kind of like, we have fun and we say different things. And we may, touch on different topics when it comes to the women, but it's never, that's not what we focus on. You just, solely. That's not what we solely focus on. And it's just you have to be able to look at the overall picture, and it just goes back. I mean, and this is not only women, this is men too. They're just not really good at comprehending in overall message. I mean, it's just as much as a lot of people say that's like a big thing right now. Oh, you just have bad comprehension skills. I mean, you know what? A lot of these people, on YouTube have bad comprehension skills, men and women. They both don't be knowing what the hell you're talking about when you're talking about an overall thing or just different overall subjects, various subjects. But they only pull out some little bullshit out of everything you've talked about. I mean, that's bad comprehension. That's the definition of bad comprehension skills. And a lot of people have that problem, and like you said, brother, I think it would be great if you could help brothers. I mean, we do. I mean, I hate to say it. Our bad image, they don't have nothing to do with black women. We did that to ourselves. I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. And I know brothers probably gonna be looking at me upside my head, but that's the truth. We made our bad image ourselves. We did that to ourselves. We didn't shot ourselves in the foot so many times that, what ends up happening is what we have now. We are portrayed as just thugs, and we just bums, and we just homeless, and we don't have shit to our name, and we just, like we depend on women for everything. I mean, a lot of this stuff we did to ourselves, and we since we did it to ourselves, we had to pull ourselves out of that situation. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of it is just propaganda. Some of it is just dumb shit. But then some of it we did to ourselves.
Yes, sir.
And we got, like you said, brother, we have to improve our image. And should nobody be trying to clown you if you're wearing a suit, unless that, broke bastard can't afford to get a suit his damn self. So that's the way I look at it, bro. Should nobody be trying to get, oh well, DDS got a suit on and I don't like nigga, why the fuck do you care about what kind of suit he have on? The brother wearing the suit, why the fuck you worry about it? I mean, that right there. See, that's another thing we have to deal with as black men. Me and you, brother, we are the true, essence of a black man. That's me and you. We are all about seeing, and when you're like me and you want to see black men do better. You want to see them strive. You want to see them thrive. You want to see them do well throughout their life. But see, you got these just punk ass, just bum ass, just clown ass dudes. They would rather see black men in a bad position, in a bad light, because it like satisfies them in some sick kind of way. Like they're satisfied with seeing black men, being looked at as somewhat of the lowest of the low when it comes to just men in general, and we're looked at in a bad light, and that makes these dudes be other black men, and they like this stuff. They like us looking bad. I'm like, man, y'all some bitch made niggas, man. I mean, like improvement is necessary for us as black men, and a part of that improvement is erasing and just putting to the side and not even acknowledging the sorry ass black men that don't want to see that. Like I look at them dudes as traitors. I look at them as pieces of shit, and I look at them as they're like holding different, younger black men back, because some of these younger black men are not able to differentiate what's the right thing and what's some bullshit. And see, these guys that talk that dumb shit, they have a loud voice. They repeat the same dumb shit over and over and over, to where these younger guys are hindered because they went, and they may have went to that shit first before they got over to your channel, DDS, before they could hear the real stuff. They went to some bullshit, and now their mind is corrupted with dumb shit that other black men put out. Like these dudes put this stuff out. And when you're a younger black man, you naturally think, man, if it's an older black man, he wants to see like things better for me. He wants to see me do good. He wants to see me succeed in life and go far and do well. Like there's a lot of these bitch made niggas. They actually want to see you not do good.
Yeah.
Those are the dudes. Those are them cats you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for bitch made whole ass, just punk ass niggas that's trying to get in like me and your way from getting the real out there. Like them dudes is punk ass bitches. And like we have, and I'm not saying we have to literally do this, but we have to like mentally eliminate those type of dudes, like or look at them dudes and laugh at them clown bitch made niggas. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what they are. If you're hindering these younger up and coming guys from like getting to the message that they need to receive and they need to hear, and they need to get a good understanding of how this is going to be beneficial to them later on down the line. I mean, those bitch made dudes, they're getting in the way of all that. They're getting in the way of the message that you're putting out. And I'm trying to help you, get out there. They're getting in the way of us, just spreading that positive message as far as improving black men's image and doing the right thing. And like you said, getting your style up, improving your style, improving your hygiene, improving your appearance, just make working out, getting yourself in shape. They are just getting in the way of all of that and just want to just be with dumb shit. And like, that's what guys like, you and me and any other man that wants to see black men, do well as far as life goes. Those punk ass dudes, they getting in the way of that. And that's what I don't like. I see more of that every day. I mean, I know a lot of it just goes back to those dudes. They just hate themselves and they have low self-confidence. And the big thing they say is low vibrational. The way I see it, them dudes, they very low vibrational. If you don't want to see the improvement of black men, and you just like you like for us to be looked at in a bad light, and then you perpetuate that by just saying dumb shit, and like what can you do with people like that?
Yeah,
you can't. You have to eliminate them. And I'm like I said, I'm not trying to say like physically get rid of them, but you have to eliminate them from your mind, and you have to go about your way and understand. Like I said, brothers that want to know the real, they need to come to your channel, man. I mean, and like think about it. If it got to a point to where people said, "Look, man, I'll go to DDS channel and I'll do what he's talking about," but if that nigga Marvel there, I ain't going. Like if it ever got to that point, I'd be like, man, I step away and like y'all just listen to DDS. I ain't saying brothers gotta listen to me, but they need to listen to you, brother, because you've been doing this for a while, and you want to see the like you said, you want to see the betterment of black men.
Bro.
You really
right. That's right, brother. Yeah. That's right.
You want to see that. You want to see that, brother. A lot of these dudes don't give. A lot of these dudes don't give a shit, man. They would rather see us down and out and down on our luck. I mean, they don't give a shit. But that's all. That's actually the main thing that you talk about. Like I said, you and Keep It 100, y'all always been about just self-improvement and just improving yourself. Like I mean, it ain't just on some dumb shit. Like every once in a while we get into the bullshit, but I mean, we do our stuff from a good place, especially you, brother. You come from a good place. You relate to everybody very well. I've been, because of brothers like you, I've been able to meet, and talk to just wonderful ladies like Miss Pat and Ms. Zanetta G, and just all the great ladies you've had, on your channel over time. And they've given me knowledge and helped me understand a lot of things. And they're honest women. They tell the truth. And and the thing about it, they actually have the proof to back things up, because they're great women and they're living great lives, and they're very positive. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard Miss Pat or Miss Zanetta G be angry about anything when they come on your stream. There's always when they're here, it's uplifting, it's positive, it's caring, it's sincere, they keep it real. I mean, it's everything. They are everything that's good. As far as what I look at in a black woman. That's how I look at them. And like if we had more women like them, maybe stuff wouldn't be as bad as it is. Maybe things would be better. Just like if we had more brothers like if we had more brothers like me and you, things would be better. But unfortunately, we got a lot of bum ass niggas, a lot of, like you said, a lot of Pookies and Ray Rays not doing shit, making us look bad, and then we just want to do the right thing so much. We just feel obligated as black men, me and you. We want to clean up that image. We want to do whatever we can to get that image right. And and I appreciate you, brother. You've it's like I tell you all the time, brother. You gave a man like me a voice to be able to speak my mind, and it's unfiltered, and I get to say what I need to say. And you have Miss Pat and Miss Zanetta G, very supportive. They've been, they never just said, hey, I don't feel comfortable with Marvel. They've always been, and I feel like if I really did say some real bad stuff, they would let me know about myself. They would tell me straight up, hey, Marvel, I didn't like how you said that. I didn't like what you said. And so I respect your channel altogether, brother. It's just good all around. The women, the men, everything just good all around. And I agree with you, brother. The self-improvement content that you put out, brothers need to see more of that. So I'm with you, brother. If you want to put together a stream and just helping these brothers, understand what they need to do as far as improving their self-image and just their appearance, hey, I'm all with it, man. It's all good.
Yeah, brother. You know what? I mean, that was great, brother. Like, I really appreciate it, man. I mean, I know all of the years that we, what I'm saying, me and you have been together, man. Like, what I'm saying, you've been a real brother, and you've always spoken from the heart, you know, always been legit, you know, and that's all I ever wanted, man. So as long as I got you, man, it's all good. Miss Pat, if you're still there, like sister, I just want to hear your final thoughts on this. You know, and I guess we'll call it a night.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I think this was a very much needed conversation, and I really enjoyed it. And I also learned a lot from you and Marvel, and I always learn something from you. So I appreciate this, and I'm glad I'm able to participate and share some things because I don't get a chance to do that very much. So I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for having your channel. It's going to grow. It's going to grow like gangbusters because we need the positive growth. You know, I listen to Obsidian's channel and I'm just laughing all through. I mean, it's hilarious because he's not, I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at the way he expresses the way things are. And he does it in such a way that you can just enjoy it, but you still learn. And it's a real deal. So I appreciate you being a part of you know, a good group, and I want this to continue, and I wish the best for both of you because y'all are really the icons of the, you know, of the future generation. Need people to give them that proper reality and that proper guidance. So thank you again, and I hope to continue listening to you in the future.
Thank you so much, y'all. I really appreciate y'all so much, man. I mean, it was a great conversation. I want y'all to have a nice night and a great weekend. Look forward to Thanksgiving. Y'all be happy.
Yeah,
And
brother.
till next time, see y'all
Happy
next
to
time.
you as well. Happy holidays to you and your families.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, brother. Happy
All right,
holidays.
brother. All right. Peace.
All
Peace.
right.
Peace out.